unequivocally forbid. All the major religious traditions in Ghana, Christianity and Islam, are opposed to this practice. And I stand opposed to it now, and I will stand opposed to it as president, inshallah. Finally, my brothers and sisters, as the holy month of Ramadan leaves us, let us continue to uphold the good values of kindness, sacrifice, and forgiveness, which we demonstrated in the past 1 month. Our communities and our nation will continue to be a great place for us if we continue to be each other's keeper. May the Almighty Allah accept our prayers, grant us the blessings of Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr, and also bless our homeland Ghana. Barakadah Sallah Jama'a. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Me, my faith is against LGBTQ.
I am an Assemblies of God member, and my faith is against men marrying men or women marrying women.
Say, the faith I have, empany say, Bema, Bewari Bema, Oba, Bewari Oba. Bill a war parliament.
The bill in parliament has not been passed yet. But government has shown that even when passed, the president will not assent to the bill.
If he say, the Attorney General can say,
this is because the Attorney General says private members' bill, which bring financial cost to government, should not be signed. So based on that, the President has indicated he won't sign such a bill when passed. So Parliament and the Executive should work together to ensure such provisions, which will have financial implication on government, are dealt with.
It puts a charge on government now, then it opens the way for the president to be happy to sign the agreement. And so, me personally, Benjin this, and a man is a man, a woman is a woman. Me believe it say nipa utimi sorry ka say me feeli wo me mu say me oba. And so yeah, wo me be mind me cause sa no my oba. Debi, I mean, nature created us man and woman. And Nyame Boyano, he knew what he was doing when he created us like that.
Well, so you have the flag bearers of the two major political parties declaring publicly their stance on this LGBTQ activities. After this period of silence by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, finally that public declaration has been made. That's attracted a lot of reactions, including that demand by a group that has been described as the Progressive Muslims Union, indicating that after this statement, he should impress on the president to sign this bill into law or assent to the bill. But there are so many aspects of this anti-LGBTQ plus bill or the law or this LGBTQ plus conversation, not just about their religion. The religious aspect is one. So this morning we're going to look at the legal, the political, the financial or economic, and then the social as well. Has there been the clear stance on this matter by the major players or the major political parties in this country? That's a conversation that we would have. And taking into consideration that the clerk to Parliament has already, within this week, also written to the presidency indicating that he would want to know when to, as it were, transmit the bill to the presidency in response to that letter that was written by Nana Bidie to Asante sometime last month. We would have a conversation this morning here on Key Point. Good morning from our studios here at Desawe and Accra. Welcome. This is Key Point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Also this morning here on the Key Point, latest poll by the Global Info Analytics shows flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, will clinch a one-touch victory in if elections were held between the 24th and the 30th of March 2024. That's the period that this poll was conducted. That's the outcome of the poll that you see on the screen there. But there are some other detail which obviously would interest you, because this poll also talked about or touched on the policies, the major headline policies of the people that you see there on the screen. And the responses like the digitalization, 24-hour economy, great transformation plan, GTP, and, you know, all of that. There were some over about 6,000 respondents thereabout to this poll. The results of this poll has also generated some reaction, with the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign team challenging the methodology and so on. And then also raising questions about global info analytics itself. Well, guess what? The man who did this or led the team to do this poll would be joining us. We want to subject this poll to a conversation this morning here on Key Point. So stay with us. We would have a conversation. And whether at all anything is going to change between now and December 7, because 8 months, as they say, is a long time in politics. Can anything substantial change on this poll and the outcomes of it? And do you actually need a poll at this moment to even test the pulse of the people? It's a conversation that we would have this morning. But the man who has been consistent in doing these polls and ensuring that at least there's a conversation about the state of affairs will be joining us. Also coming up this morning, the Akufo-Addo-led administration, they've introduced a performance tracker to enhance transparency and accountability in the implementation of infrastructure projects nationwide. However, in fact, not just the NDC, but some other persons questioned the tracker's efficacy in improving the daily livelihoods of Ghanaians. But then again, also, some of the details that have been put inside the tracker, issues of credibility have been raised. In fact, yesterday, the government itself they posted on their X page that some 67 projects that were not supposed to have been added to this tracker were put there. Well, if you recall, during the launch of this tracker, one of the statements that stood out was that all the details of the projects on this tracker had been validated. There's some validation that had gone on. So, question is, what has to be done to ensure that there is some level of accountability as we employ all of these measures to track government performance? It's a conversation that we would have here on Key Point. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. We're very interactive on Facebook and also on WhatsApp. I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Key Point. My name is Alfred Ocansey. I'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guest will be joining me in the studio. We'll start the conversation right away. Stay with us.
Join our 10-day Steps of Paul package. Discover the mysteries surrounding the ministry of Apostle Paul in Dikli, Athens, Thessaloniki, Kavala, Patmos, Istanbul, and Ephesus from October 11 to 20, 2024. This Christian pilgrimage offers a 7-night cruise, return flights, transfers, hotel accommodation, meals, drinks, visa support, and excursions. Call us now on 0308-251-055 to secure your cabin with a $1,000 deposit and pay the rest in installments. Life is better at sea. Experience it.
With your last cash left for the month, you decide to get a chicken bucket for the family. So you hop in your car and pay for the petrol to get to the drive-thru. Then you pay for the food. But 20 minutes later, that precious bucket of chicken is now a bucket of bones. Or you pay once right on your phone with the MyGoTV app to keep the whole family smiling for an entire month. For unbeatable value for money entertainment,
ooh, I love this.
There's only one way to go. GoTV. Love it.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
What went into that decision to be a part of Movement for Change?
We want to see a transformative change, not just a change. There is a sense of desperation, a despair that is roaming around the country like a roving lion, hungry to avenge itself.
You said the premature announcement was going to give room for sabotage.
If somebody is going to leak your information, it's better you take charge of it, because then your narrative holds. The economic conditions speak for themselves. Ghanaians had very high hopes, but I think we can all say with a degree of honesty that this is not where we expected to be.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 10 p.m. only on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
We don't want us to be sorry.
5 young and ambitious ladies try to navigate the chaotic and unpredictable streets of Lagos.
Wale or Jennifer?
Marion.
Marion. You should let me take you out sometime. Maybe a trip somewhere.
How is it that I have a full-time job?
Compose yourself, not say place of business.
My dad still sends me money every single month.
You stay away from anyone with dreadlocks.
And yet my bank account is empty. How?
Girl, that's Lagos for you. You met the drama queen, Lola.
Oh, that bastard is going to regret ever dumping me. You know you have more than enough time to figure all this out.
That's easy for you to say, Susie. You have a man.
I don't think you can handle the truth. I advise you, just tie him up and spank him like a naughty boy. All men must pay. Always.
What happened to Tunde? Did you break up with him? We're in an open relationship.
I don't think you guys understand.
I want to be married this year.
Watch them figure out love, life, friendships, and finances in this thrilling and fabulous series titled Money, Men, Marriage. Watch how their lives unfold on TV3. Money, Men, Marriage, coming soon to TV3.
Luckily, the gentleman says he's afraid. He's afraid of tomorrow. He's afraid of what could happen, but it's not happened yet.
The ex-boyfriend has transferred all his properties into my wife's name, where she manages all his estates and affairs.
The probability that the reconnection could happen is very high.
There's no one in this world other than your ex, somebody's wife, to cry out your divorce issues.
When you are married, you're supposed to establish boundaries. And this is how far the boundary shoots. And so when something interferes with these boundaries, you should be able to rise up and say, no, darling, that's not what we agreed on.
She may have the best of intentions, but remember, the road to hell, they say, is paved with good intentions.
Confessions shows on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN.
It's a brand new season, season 11. And are you ready for this one? Oh, you sure? Season 10 was warm-up. This season, we bring the guys on. Oh, wow, give it up for Lady B!
I'm admiring someone special here.
Hey, already Belinda. This one, let's be calming down.
I want it sharp.
They don't understand the word love. You know, they say, follow the wise and be wise.
Thank you. The belly is not meant to be flat. Naturally, God just gave us belly. Hello.
But some people, they have flat toe.
Will you keep quiet?
Date Rush shows every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Date Rush is sponsored by Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil and Napa Foods.
Feel Moisturizer.
Obuasi Bitters.
Close-Up Complete Fresh Protection. Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soap.
Deluxy Acrylic Paint.
Adonko.
Remy Spices.
Stop Cough from Ernest Chemist.
Dano Milk.
This week we're going to church. Hallelujah, somebody. Well, MOG Music is joining us and Luigi McLean will be here as well.
No, your faith, oh, honey. That's
We'll be talking about their journey in the world of Christianity, and it's an incredible one, especially when you have all the support that you require.
So I mean, for someone who grew up with a lot of ladies, and my parents used to sing as well.
Okay.
They were in the choir back in the days.
Let's talk a bit about family. What's it like being a family man in this industry?
I must say, God has blessed me with an amazing wife. You know, I'm not saying this because she's here. You know, my wife is a great killer in my life.
But that's not the only one. Our BU question of the day for this week is quite an interesting one. As a Christian, is it okay to date someone who is a non-believer? I'd like to hear from you even before this episode airs. So make sure to join us this Sunday, 3 p.m. right here on TV3 for The Day Show.
The Day Show, Sundays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Once upon a time, 10 daring couples decided to test their love. All eyes were on them. For 24 hours, they found love, friendship, acquaintances, and they found drama.
No, listen. No. If you are fooling, I'll tell you you are fooling. Okay. Don't come and be backing and thinking I'm scared of you. Can't I share my own happiness with someone?
That's the same way they'll go to a chat room and nominate you because of that. That's your weakest point.
The winner of Perfect Match Extra Season 1 is Beverly and Grace!
1 year on, who and who survived, who broke up, and what has everyone been up to? Join us this weekend as we bring you the most anticipated reunion in Ghanaian television. Perfect Match Extra, this Saturday live at 8 p.m. on TV3.
Perfect Match Extra on TV3 and pmextra.tv.
Sponsored by Close Up for your important oral care needs. Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup for your soft and glowing skin.
Flora Tissue, Top Choco, Bell Ice.
Two, three, can we do it together? You don't feel that vibe. I don't feel that vibe. Energy. You don't feel that vibe.
Everything fresh, crisp, and tight on the road to Telesong Ghana Music Awards 2024. Lego!
Road to the Telecel Ghana Music Awards. Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
Telecel, connecting energies.
The brightest minds of senior high schools are going head-to-head in a battle of intellect and wit. From over 100 schools, now we have 32 schools from all over the country. Students have and will continue to showcase their prowess in mathematics and English language, in science and general knowledge, with each round keenly contested.
To tempt dash, meaning to take reckless risks.
Now, some questions, immediately you finish reading and you look at the posturing of the students, you know that they will not answer.
In dermatology, this word refers to a break in otherwise continuous skin, as seen in the feet of diabetic patients. Yes.
Also.
You are correct.
The bragging rights, the coveted cash prize, and many more are all up for grabs. Welcome to the ultimate showdown in the Sharks Quiz Competition Seniors Edition 7.
The Sharks Season 7, coming soon to TV3.
From the streets to the boardroom, from the classroom to the stadium, women are taking control of the narrative. Gender is no longer a reason to not be great, and I'm here to amplify the stories. Stories of women who refused to take the backseat. Bold, daring, loud, and uncompromising women who have faced challenges yet changed the game.
So when you grow up, what do you want to be?
I wanted to be a stripper. I wanted to be Cardi B.
A vocational and technical training institute powering the African economy.
You meet with your friends, everybody wants to talk about their children doing well on Mother's Days, you know.
Are you ready to take your seat at the table? Join me, Cookie T, on Today's Woman every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on TV3.
Today's Woman with Cookie T shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Today's Woman is brought to you by Latex Foam, Vlisco.
Once upon a time, 10 daring couples decided to test their love. All eyes were on them. For 24 hours, they found love, friendship, acquaintances, and they found drama.
We're in the right place.
No,
listen. No.
If you are fooling, I'll tell you you are fooling. Okay. Don't come and be backing and thinking I'm scared of you.
Can't I share my own happiness with someone?
That's the same way they'll go to a chat room and nominate you because of that. That's your weakest point.
The winner of Perfect Match Extra Season 1 is Beverly and Grace!
1 year on, who and who survived, who broke up, and what has everyone been up to? Join us this weekend as we bring you the most anticipated reunion in Ghanaian television. Perfect Match Extra, this Saturday live at 8 p.m. on TV3.
Perfect Match Extra on TV3 and pmextra.tv.
Sponsored by Close Up for your important oral care needs. Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup for your soft and glowing skin.
Flora Tissue, Top Choco.
Welcome back to Key Point here on TV3. We're also live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. And as you do know, the issues on the table are going to be discussed in the interests of you and I, the Ghanaian people, and the advancement of our development and our democracy in every way possible. Joining me in studio to have a conversation this morning is Professor Kobe Mensah. Is a senior lecturer and a political marketing strategist, senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, and also a political marketing strategist. Dr. Kobe Mensah, it's good to have you. Good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also joining us is Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, because of the first conversation we're going to be having. He's joining us. Musa, it's good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Also, we have the member of, the Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. He's also a member of Parliament. He's joining us. Good morning. Do you know?
Good morning.
Amidou Isahaku Chinya. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. This is your first time on the show.
Yes, this is my first time on the show.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much. Also, Martin Kwebo is private legal practitioner, also the leader of the Kumi Prekun Reloaded demonstration, one of 3 individual bondholder groups as well. Lawyer Martin Kwebo, good morning, welcome.
Morning, Mr. Ocansey.
Thank you so much. Also joining me is the Honorable Kofi Adams, he's a member of Parliament for the Boem constituency, also a member of the Public Accounts Committee and a couple of other committees of importance as well in this 8th Parliament. The Honorable Kofi Adams, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Yes. So as you see, we have 5 persons. It's one of the very packed shows we've had in a long while. But it's good to have you all join us. Let me start off with you, Musa Dankwa. You put out a poll this week, Global Info Analytics. The details of it, at least, indicating that if elections were held within a particular period, John Dramani Mahama was going to win by over 50%. That did not go down well with the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign team. In fact, let's put the details of this poll on the screen right now. We'll run through it, and I'm going to ask you a few questions that came up after you released the poll this week, revealing that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is trailing John Mahama with 54.3%, 34.6% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 7.5% for Alan Chemanting, 2.3% for Nana Kwame Bediako, 0.7% for Gum, and then also Hassan Ayarga in that order, Kofi Akpalu, and then you see the others as well following in that order. You captioned it the voting intentions of committed voters. Now, within which period was this poll done?
All right, this poll was carried out between 22nd March and 31st March. 22nd
March to 31st of March. I see. And what questions did you ask these persons with the response you see there?
There were close to 41 questions.
41 questions.
Excluding the demographic questions regarding where they are. And the first one that we always ask is the perception of voters about where the country is headed. And then we ask them questions about the performance of the president, and then the performance of the MPP government as a whole. We also ask them questions about their standard of living in the last 12 months. Has it improved, gotten worse, or stayed the same? We ask them about optimism for improvement going forward, whether they are optimistic things will improve going forward. We also ask them about the corruption in the country, their perception of corruption in the country. And then we do ask them questions about their voting intentions. And then also we ask them whether they were first-time voters. And we also ask them whether they voted in 2020 elections, and if so, how did they vote? So we are able to then triangulate to some of these responses to see the intelligence that hide in those data. So there are quite about 41 questions which we published alongside the report. So those who want to see what we asked, the questions are available online, free of charge.
Let's see, 41 of those questions. And let me just run through the next. Apart from this, the headline, which is the 53% for John Mahama and so on, there's some detail as well that you put out that paints or gives some further and better particulars to what we just saw. Let's run through them. This is by region. So Ahafo, you see Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, according to this poll, and within this period, leading with 58%, John Mahama 25%. Ashanti region, 54 for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 31 for John Mahama. Bono region, 49, John Mahama, 32, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And then Bono East, 49, 23 for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And then Central region, a swing region, crucial, as we've seen in previous elections, 51% for John Mahama, 45% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And then also you see the Greater Accra region, 73% for John Mahama, 21% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Northeast, 58-26. And then you see in the Eastern region as well, you say, based on the poll, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would have taken that region. And then also the Northern region, 68 for John Mahama, 31 for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Savannah, 73, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 26. So even in the northern regions, I'm talking about the 5 regions of the north, you have, based on this poll, John Mahama winning all of those 5 regions of the north. And considering the fact that these 2 persons are from the northern region, it's also another place to look at as well. But you say that in terms of voter apathy in the Ashanti region and Greater Accra regions, let's start from the Ashanti region. What were the reasons that these respondents gave? Because I see voter apathy actually very high.
Unfortunately, we don't ask them reasons. These are close-ended surveys. So we don't ask them reasons, but it's a clue for anyone who wants to go and do a follow-up to see why they're not voting. But we didn't have enough time to be there asking open-ended questions, so we have to be within the time. In Ashanti region, about 23% of all people who said they won't vote in Ghana are from the Ashanti region.
23%
of all voting,
all the people who said
in
they
Ghana
won't
here,
vote.
who said they won't vote, are from the Ashanti region.
And did you get a sense that it was because of disappointment or the person just didn't?
No, we don't want to speculate because we didn't ask them direct questions. So we have to stay within our lane, as we normally say. But then if you look at 22% of them being Accra, but there's a way you could figure out why. If you cross-tab those who say they won't vote and how they see the direction of the country, you can figure it out.
Right. I see.
Yes.
And because you asked them a question about where the direction the country is heading.
Yes.
And what was the response there?
About 65% of voters said we are headed in the wrong direction.
65%?
Yes.
So we are heading in the wrong direction?
Wrong direction. Even though that was a slight decline compared to January, which was 68%, it's dropped by 3% to 65% now, but it's still quite high, that level.
I see. And even you talk about the young voters as well, that's the first-time voters who were surveyed in this poll. Give me the details of that one as well. And we have that, we'll put that on the screen. The first-time voters, what was the outcome? What questions did you even ask them?
It's the same question we ask everybody.
I see.
But then we analyze those questions based on your gender, your age, and other demographic questions that we put out there. So when we look at those who said it's headed in the wrong direction and they are between 18 and 35, 65% of them said Ghana is headed in the wrong direction. This is the youth voting age.
The youth voters?
Yes.
And the methodology that you use has come under some questioning after you release this. Because, for instance, the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia team says that it's not rigorous enough. You can't take a sample size of what? 6,128 voters were interviewed, out of which 5,928 responded and want to make it representative. How do you respond to this? Because 5,928 sample size for this poll.
Let me start with the methodology. Whether it is rigor or not doesn't lie in the opinion of somebody. But if you display and put out the methodology out there, every researcher who has done research can go through it and either confirm or deny that this approach is not vigorous enough. How do we go about it? The sampling size they're talking about is not done by somebody's imagination or somebody's wishful thinking. It is driven by a mathematical formula. It is mathematics. If you are saying that we have 18.5 million people in Ghana who could vote, and that you want to do a survey of this population, and you want to have 99% confidence level for this survey that you're going to embark on, and you choose a margin of error of 1.6%, the results of the sample size you need to engage is 6,128. It's mathematics. You can prove it or disprove it. Nobody can say that this will not give you this result. So this is the base on which you discount the sampling size question they raised. Now, we could get this sample size all right, but if you go and deploy all the sample in Ashanti region, what would you get? That would not be representative enough. So this 6,000 sample is then distributed to all the regions based on the contribution of that region to voters register in Ghana here. So if you look at what we did, we deployed 20% of the sample in Greater Accra, because in Greater Accra, there are more voters than Ashanti region. Ashanti got 18%, then followed by Eastern region 10%, Central 9%, Western 7%, Northern 6%, voters, and so on and so forth. So these are weighted distribution of the sample. That means that it is rigor, it is scientific. And then when you have done that regional sample, we use a model to select 30% of the 275 constituencies in Ghana. That 30% gives you 82 constituencies.
So you deployed this survey in 82 constituencies?
Yes.
And you say 55 out of the 82, John Mahama was leading or led?
Yes, leading in those constituencies.
Within the period of the survey?
Yes, but let me land on this sampling issue.
Okay.
I've always been given this example. When you're preparing a soup, you get all your ingredients, everything perfect. Those are the methodology you deploy in sampling. Once you put the soup on fire, you stir everything put together. The pepper is there, the salt is there, everything is perfectly stirred up in the pot. If you want to taste the soup, you don't drink the entire bowl. But you take a spoon and fetch from the bowl and you taste it. The way it tastes in your mouth, that's how the entire soup tastes. That is the science of sampling a population. As simple as that.
Well, there was another issue as well, that the people who you deploy these questions to or you sample, you don't know their political affiliation. So if you have more MPP or more NDC persons responding to this survey than NPP persons, obviously you would have this outcome.
You see,
because you don't have the chance of knowing their political affiliation.
The criteria for selecting people is not by party affiliation. If you go through our questionnaire,
but I see a survey, in fact, part of the details of the survey that talked about party affiliation.
No, I'm coming there.
Okay.
You see, we understand the psychology of voters in this country. We never start our questionnaire with your party affiliation or even the demography. The party affiliation question is the last question we ask you, because we know in this country, once they disclose that, it begins to affect what they tell you. So it is by science that we put that question last. So you have no chance to go and alter what you told us earlier on.
The last of the 41.
Yes. And then again, you see, when you deploy people in the street randomly, interviewing people, that is why we say that it's representative of the people being interviewed in that location at a point in time. If you pick more people who are NDC in Buta region, would that be a surprise?
Obviously not.
If you pick people who are MPP in Ashanti region, would that be a surprise? No. So you have to look at all those details. And then overall, how many respondents said they were MPP, how many were NDC, and how many were floating voters? And indeed, the trick lies in the views of those who said they were MPP, and the views of those who said they were NDC, and those who are saying they are floating voters. How are they behaving within their tribe or within their party affiliation? It is more telling than looking at the bigger number. We don't sampling people because they are MPP or NDC. But if you go to Ashanti region, what would you expect? So if you go to Western region, you see that the number of people who say they're MPP, NDC is smaller. Central is smaller. The swing areas are smaller because that's how they behave naturally.
But that issue of this average sample size, I had one of your research colleagues also pointed out that when we had a conversation within this week, that the average sample size, if you're looking at the 82 constituencies that you sampled, if you do simple division mathematics, that means that you're talking about 73 for each constituency of the 82 that you sampled, and that is certainly not representative enough.
No, you see, and that's why we go to the length of producing the sampling for every location. They haven't even read the report. If you go to the 82 constituencies, the bigger the constituency, the more sample is given. So this is not factual. It's just completely not backed by anything. The reports are clearly showing that in Asawasi, we had 101 or so people being interviewed. If you go to Afram Plains, about 45 people, because it is a smaller constituency. Everything there is weighted. So people should not make kind of sweeping statements without even reading the report. And it is because of this allegation that we put everything in the report, including the gender, how many women we interviewed, how many men we interviewed, and how many of those who said they were other genders. Unfortunately, we have them.
I see.
Yes.
And some people who responded and said they were neither male nor female.
We've been in the field for almost 2 years now. There are people you meet, they say, I'm not a male, I'm not a female. Wow. And we couldn't put them anywhere but to create a new column called other gender.
I see. And were there that many? Were they that representative enough to be captured in the survey?
It's interesting. Whether they're representative or not, we need to know where they are. And because, you see, to make campaign issues more targeted, you must have data. In certain parts of constituencies, there are more of them than other places.
Interesting.
And we know those places.
You know the places where the
yes
persons who don't identify as male and female.
Absolutely.
Most of them are.
Absolutely.
And that data can also help. Maybe you should concern yourself with
so
doing
when
a
I
poll
hear
on
that our report is scanty, I laugh. Because what we put out there is less than 5% of what we have.
Yeah, I see. Because of this LGBT conversation and matters arising, you can interest yourself in having a poll so we get to know at least a representation, figuratively, and talk about the number of persons who identify as either do not identify as male or female, but
it doesn't make them LGBTQ people.
Yes, indeed. I mean, obviously, I'm just
some are biologically in that situation.
Okay, but well, I mean, the basics are what I've just thrown to you, because whenever you put out this poll, this is not the first time such questions are coming up. Whenever you put out a poll, but the Honourable Chiana, there is that notion that, within this period, if you look at, I asked when this poll was conducted, because the period the poll was conducted is also relevant as well. Now, you would not even need a poll, some will say, to test the pulse of the people within this period, this 22nd to 31st of March, to know that people will respond this way. So what exactly is the disagreement? What are the questions about this poll that you, the MPP, and Dr. Mahmoud Bamia's team have?
Well, thank you. Let me say good morning to my colleague panelists, and good morning to the people of Sisala, is my constituents, and anybody listening to us this morning. Well, I have been a very, very strong supporter of Bamia's candidature. Very, very strong. I mean, I believe that he's a perfect man. He's an excellent man. He's done so well as vice president, and I think that becoming a president, he will do much, much better. I have also been following my brother Musa Danko's analysis of the survey that was carried out. The reaction from members of Dr. Bamia's team, I've followed that. But my personal opinion is that these kind of surveys are meant to guide politicians in general. I mean, for me, there is no wrong if anybody does a survey in my constituency and predicts that I'm likely to lose.
There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong.
If you do a survey that you are likely to lose.
If you do a survey in my constituency and you say that I'm likely to lose the next election, I don't have a problem with that. Fantastic. Because I have my own, I know my strength, I know my weaknesses, and any survey that will bring out additional information pointing to other variables will only urge me to do more and to try to correct the wrongs, to make sure that I win the election. And so for me, personally, I don't have any qualms with the outcomes of his research. As a party, we have also been doing our own research. We have also been doing our own checks. We know the situation on the ground. And we only need to add, the shortfalls that we are identifying from his research and all that, and add more value to how we can retain power in 2024. Of course, when polls are conducted, some of the time they get it right, some of the time they get it wrong. But it is for you, the one who is affected, to reflect on the outcomes of a particular poll and know what to take on board and what to reject. And when I go through some of the works of this particular poll, I readily can reject certain aspects of it, and I readily can accept certain aspects of it.
Which aspects are you going to reject?
Well,
and on what basis, for instance?
For me, it is not, expressing personal opinions.
Okay.
Sometimes can be, if you put your opinions out without due consultation with your party, you can have your own issues.
Right.
I wouldn't want to. These are personal observations I have made.
Okay.
That I accept certain aspects of the poll, and there are certain aspects I can reject outrightly and think that it will not actually work the way it has reflected in the report. But I think generally as a party, we need to, welcome some of these surveys, compare them to our own surveys, and try to draw the middle line, try to look at, because no matter what, there is some lessons that you can draw from posts like this, no matter what. You may disagree with certain aspects, but there are lessons worth learning that can help you as an individual or as a party. And so I will strongly suggest to the party that let's sit on the report, analyze it, look at where we can draw some lessons and where we can outrightly reject some of the opinions and all that, and we can move forward. But like I stated earlier, I mean, polls sometimes will get it right, sometimes they will get it wrong. If my brother himself has done polls that we have seen, he has gotten some right at the end, some he has gotten them wrong. I mean, I remember the Assembly election, the last survey that he did put our candidate at about 1.something% ahead of the NDC's candidate. But when you look at the final outcome of the results, where the NDC candidate pulled 57% as against 40-something, which was complete departure from the polls that were conducted. There was complete variation, which meant that the poll did not reflect the actual elections. There are other polls that he has conducted that has also reflected in the elections. So both ways can be the case. It is possible that the poll that he has conducted now is a true reflection of what is on the ground. It's also possible that it may not be the true reflection. So the point I am strongly making is that as a party, we need to do a whole analysis of his work and take lessons from where we need to take lessons from and where we need to reject. But let me also say that from the conclusive percentages of former President Mahama likely to get 54%, and Dr.
If elections were held between the 22nd and the 31st of March.
Like I said, I don't want to dispute the outcomes of his survey, because there are many things that can go into a survey. And 3 days ago, I was telling somebody that African surveys are not very reliable because of our nature.
What do you mean?
I mean, you know. I'm not just saying. I'm not talking about.
But you're right.
I'm not just talking about the people involved in the survey and their conduct, but even we ourselves. The person you can contact today, who in my village, who will say that he will vote for Amid Chinia today, tomorrow I can make a statement and you go back to that same person, and he will tell you that he will not vote for me. So you can have a survey that will indicate that I'll get 70%. In 2 weeks' time, I can make a statement, and you go and do a survey at the same place, and it will tell you that I'll get less than 30%.
You're absolutely right.
It's not like in Europe or America, where there is some reliability in terms of some of these things. In Africa, you can do a genuine survey, you get genuine outcomes, and within 2 weeks, the survey, the events can change, and everything will change, and the patterns will change. And that is why sometimes you can have the final outcome defying the survey results in the past. And so, I mean, we don't need to begrudge these matters. We don't need to fight over these matters. We only need to take the data, I mean, extract what we need and leave out what we don't need. I mean, if somebody tells me the MPP in any election will get, less than 40%, even if we are losing, but I believe we can never get less than 40%. But but the survey suggests we are getting less than 40%. So that should not discourage anybody. It is just, sometimes, even coincidentally, you can get to a place and all the people you speak to can be NDC. You can get to another place, all the people you speak to may be MPP. It's not that you have deliberately selected them. But there are a lot of coincidences and a lot of factors that can affect a survey that politicians don't need to bother about.
I say, so the point is, 8 months is too long enough to even change the tide, or as it were, swing the pendulum on your behalf. Not to talk about even what we are saying now, but you're saying that as a party, you've been doing your own research, your own polls. What does it tell you? I mean,
I am extremely confident that we'll win the 2024 election. Extremely confident. I'm telling you.
The polls tell you that you are winning.
Oh,
no.
No, he didn't
Lawyer.
say that.
Don't try it. This one even
wait. Counsel, let me finish it.
You see, this is your opinion.
He didn't say that the polls. He said he's confident. He didn't say
I
the
mean,
polls.
from where I sit, and the information I have, I am confident that Dr. Bawumia will be elected president of Ghana.
Okay, does that reflect the details of the polls that you are conducting as a party?
I have just said that. I mean, polls are opinions, and there are a lot of matters that are factor that comes into it. Some may be reality, some may be I've just pointed to you that there are still no by-election.
Perfect.
Musa Dankwa himself predicted the MPP candidate ahead of the NDC candidate by 1-point-something percentage. But when you look at the outcome, I mean, the gap between the MPP and the NDC was massive.
I mean, just a quick correction. The margin of error in that poll was 2.5%.
Yes.
Margin of error. You understand that?
Yes.
And then the MPP was leading 1.1%.
And what was the percentage?
No. And there were about 7% who said they wouldn't disclose what they want to do.
Yes.
Okay. I think that I recall we had that conversation moving on, and the fact that the persons who said they wouldn't disclose who they were voting for may have made up for that difference that we saw. Okay.
But the point I'm basically making is that posters have sometimes gotten it right, sometimes they've gotten it wrong. Both sides are applicable, and I am not about to dispute what he has put out. I'm not interested in that.
Okay.
I'm interested in taking lessons from the poll that will guide my party, that will help my party. But we are also doing our own research. We are also doing our own findings. And I have no doubt that the MPP will excel in the next election. Dr. Bawumia will win.
Professor Mensah, I mean, the outcome of the poll could be viewed, as the Honorable Chinia has indicated, as early warning signs. But then again, you've seen the reaction so far. I mean, he has been very progressive in looking at the outcomes of it, but you cannot say this generally for the members of the party, for that matter. And then also, even on the other side, that is winning. Because you say you're in a comfortable lead now. We've seen what has happened before in the past. I mean, so is this response of questioning immediately the credibility of the poll one that would even help the party in question going forward?
Well, thank you, Alfred. Let me give you a very simple example. I have never seen any coach who is actually going to play a football match with even the biggest teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and would say that we're going to be scored. Nobody does that. I mean, then how do you expect your followers, your supporters, to follow you to the stadium, to support? So it's natural. I mean, the responses from the political parties are natural, all right? Because do you want them to throw their hands in the air and say, we've lost the election? It's never going to happen. They have to pump up their base. They have to energize their base, all right? And so the natural, response that I expect a political party, be it MPP, NDC, CPP, PNC, all right, is to say that, well, this is not a true reflection, all right? So as a pollster, I mean, I've done polls myself, even as academic, all right? You're going to send a paper, and the reviewer is going to punch holes in it, and you're going to accept it. You have to accept that, holes, and then ask yourself whether indeed you have to change it or you have to maintain your position and send them a response and say, no, I think this is right because A, B, C, D, E, all right? So it's a natural reflection of the game that an opposition party and a ruling party will reject a verdict that says if elections were to be held today, they're going to lose. So it's a natural reflection. Now, my problem, though, is the way that they try to bastardize, all right, the practice. Remember, in a consolidated democracy, all these things are supposed to be there. You're supposed to have media analysis, you're supposed to have polls, you're supposed to have rallies, you're supposed to have, all these things are activities of, politics, within a political system, a very functional political system. So in our attempt to debunk so that we can energize our base, let us not try to paint it in a manner that people would, because what we do as leaders is what the people actually watch, all right, and then they follow. So for me, I always say that if you have any criticisms for things like that, don't do it in a manner that people would, have no confidence in it. And then, of course, you destroy the system, all right? We must encourage it. And I really, really like it because, look, over the period, we had Uncle Ben who's been doing it, and then, of course, at some point, we came in with the IPO, and then Musa came in with this one, and it's been consistent. Do you know how much it cost to do this? It's a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of commitment, all right? But the expectation of the people is crucial. People want to know. People want to have a feel of, hey, how is it going to happen, in December? And that's why we do these polls. The polls, the purposes for the polls, so many, for different, stakeholders. I've had, companies, those days when I was doing IPO, I had companies from England that would actually send me an email to ask about the pulse of the people, all right? Because they want to make an investment decision. Because they want to, even with tourism, people want to come into the country at certain places. So there are quite a number of stakeholders who actually rely on these information, for their purposes. It's not only for politicians, all right? So when we're actually speaking about them, we have to be mindful. And my problem is that you hear polls from organizations like Outcome International. I mean, go and check who is Outcome International. There is none. There's no such viable or credible institution. Yet you have MPP, leaders who would actually hold on to such polls and speak highly of it because a certain Outcome International says Bawumia will win. And you have Musa Dankwa, who is actually here, who has published the methodology.
But what is Outcome International?
I don't even know. They did a poll and put Bawumia winning. I don't know. Oh no, I hope you saw that poll. All right. They didn't publish the methodology. They didn't publish their questions. They just said that Bawumia is winning by some 50-something%. And they were speaking about it. They were speaking on radio. I mean, respectable platforms published it. All right. And they were happy with that. You have someone who had actually published a poll and published the methodology, published the the questions for transparency's sake, and then for perhaps repetition if somebody wants to do that. To some point, I mean, we even publish the data itself that people can actually use it to analyze. I remember there was a time we published the data and Franklin called me and I said, oh, the data is online. You can actually get the data. And he was like, wow, really? Because some polls and most polls don't even publish their data. All right? Yet you have the politicians bastardizing it. And when they talk about, oh, we have a problem with the methodology, which part of the methodology do you have a problem with? And they're not saying anything. So for me, I think that we have to be mindful that these are systems that we need to build. In fact, we need to encourage a lot of people to publish, to do polls. Maybe people can come and learn from Musa how to do polls. Because the political party, when they do their polls, they're not going to publish it because it's for their use, all right? But polls like Musa's would be for public consumption. So we need quite a lot of people to go into such practice so that at least we can have variation within our political system. We shouldn't actually...
But for political marketing purpose, I mean, 8 months you would say, obviously, is long enough.
Of course, but you see, in political marketing or political communication, we have what we call intensity, all right? Now, you realize that towards the elections, you're going to have quite a lot of activities. Even you're going to change your programming. You're going to have more time for politics other than agric or social issues, all right? So that level of intensity heightens the interest of people. So those who are even saying they're not going to vote, they're likely to change their minds because of the level of intensity, all right? Now, you're going to have political songs developed. And in our system, it's very funny, but look, some songs, political songs, can change somebody's intention, to vote.
The campaign songs.
The campaign songs. I'm telling you. And Honorable was talking about if you interview somebody today, he's not going to vote for them. Tomorrow he's going to vote. People, inducement, all right? Even a call from a brother from the US or UK to say, you have to vote this way, will change their minds of voting. So there are quite a lot of interventions, quite a lot of things that will get people to the polls. Most of the time, we get people, oh, we are not going to vote. By the time we finish the election, we are like 83%. All right. Unlike in the UK or elsewhere, where turnout is like 34%, whatever, because people aren't bothered, all right? But in our situation, our conditions are such that people become disappointed, but towards the election period, they realize, if I don't go to the polls, X person is going to win, and I don't want them to win, all right? They rush there. They're getting calls from relatives to say, you have to vote. They're getting these, inducement, political songs, people are chanting, people are going on, float, etc. It charges the atmosphere. And so it takes away that apathy level. Of course, when it comes to apathy, which usually comes from the ruling side, because usually they've put their faith in the administration.
Yeah, and we saw that reflected.
Exactly. They're giving you, a resounding victory, like what happened to NDC in 2016. The apathy from voter region was massive. And usually, when you have prominent people speaking into it, it then energizes. You see, sometimes the ordinary voter might take a decision, they're not sure, whether that decision is correct. They look at, figures, public figures, and their position. And I think that, and I must say this, when in 2016, the chief, Tugbe Afede, spoke about the NDC situation when they said that, they have done little. That nailed the apathy, because people are listening to certain public figures, certain prominent personalities, and thinking, what I'm thinking, is that right? Are they also thinking the same? So when they speak to it, it nails it. And that's why Alan Chamanson's exit, all right, and certain prominent people in Ashanti region speaking against the government can actually deepen the apathy and then get people.
But the NPP has been very consistent that Alan Chamanting is very insignificant to the fortunes of the party going into the elections. And well, it's interesting the outcome of the poll, because that's to the contrary.
That's for the public, but for them, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised that there's a conversations going
about Alan Chamanting and
of course,
the impact of his exit.
They appreciate the enormity of his exit. In the public, and I said to you, there is no way very, very, a good politician will come out to say that, Alan's exit would affect us. No. I mean, when they love their party, they won't do that, all right? They would say all that they want to say, although sometimes some of the language is not palatable. I wish they could say it differently for people not to really take it negatively. But the impact is huge, and they recognize the impact. In public, they will not admit it, and they will say, it's not going to have any impact. Of course, barring the insult and all those unsavory remarks, I want to believe that it is the right thing to do in politics, because you do not want your base to be disappointed. And so you always have to rally them around and say he won't have any impact. But definitely they know that he's having impact on them.
And does Alan Chamanting's exit give you sleepless nights, or he's not going to cause any issues for you?
Well, I think that in politics, every addition or subtraction means something. Even he as an individual exiting means something to the party.
But you have maintained that he's insignificant.
Oh, of course, once you lose a vote or an influencer in your party, you take steps to see how you can reduce the effect of that influencer leaving you. You cannot say that because Alan Chamanting has left, MPP cannot win an election.
I see.
We definitely have to take steps that will help us win the election without him.
Well, that's actually what's reflected in the poll. You see that Alan Chamanting also making some good inroads in there as well. Let me bring in Lawyer Martin Pebu. Does the outcome of this poll, I mean, within this period, the emphasis between the 21st and the 22nd and the 31st of March reflects the pulse of the nation as you see it or as you experience within that period when this poll was conducted?
Absolutely, it does. It does, because, people, you see, basically, let's be very clear. This, the NPP lost the elections, okay? That's the 2024 elections. In the year 2022.
How do you mean?
The year of the cost of living crisis, which we are still experiencing till date. You know, the beginning of so let's say the last quarter of 2021 were shut out of the international capital market, right? So the roosters had come home to roost. We had been binge borrowing, right? 2021, you see the Bank of Ghana statement that we embarked on an expansionary spending policy, which was not, sensible. The governor himself stated it in the statement he made. That was in the context of the Bank of Ghana headquarters problem, right? So you see that a government that goes to embark on such binge borrowing in a manner that didn't make economic sense and thereby spiraled into a situation where we're shut out of the international capital market last quarter of 2021 and again in the beginning of 2022. Then you saw how inflation, apart from inflation, the exchange rate, the cedi started depreciating. Free fall. Even to the extent that so beginning of 2022 we're about 6.0, right? By the end, we had gone to anywhere between 14 and 17, right? You see that it gone up. The cedi had fallen. The currency collapsed. And you see in the May, inflation also went up. December 2024, the inflation was what? 54%, 54 point something. How are we going to get out of this? So the main thing is that once we're suffering, and we suffered for that long and are still suffering, it would be extremely impossible to have the MPP remain in power. Because you see that this is a period that has brought over 26 sayings of Baumia, okay, to naught. He's had to eat back, though he's not officially eating back his words, but in practice we've seen that all his words, all his most poignant economic theses have fallen flat. They've disintegrated. We've arrested the dollar and given the keys to the IG. Well, the dollar is galloping. You see, this year, once again, the cedi hasn't held its own. It's back somewhere above 13.6, right? Back. From the beginning of the year, we are still back in the same trouble. Oh, then it says when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. That's it, right? Look at petrol prices. Last week I mentioned it. For the first time in 14 months, petrol has gone up again, beyond what? 14 cedis per liter. Is that not so? And so on and so forth. So you just see that since they just lost control of the economy, beginning most especially in 2022, so there's about 2.5 years on, we are in a cost of living crisis. No, they will tell you, we've also borrowed it from the Americans. They will tell you that when it comes to elections, they're saying is the economy stupid? Meaning, generally, people would look at their personal economy. Point is that, has the price of kinky gone down? Has it gone down from 5 cedis? I remember, when the NPP were doing their primaries, the head of the scholarship secretary, the registrar, Kingsley Ajiman, in his constituency, he said he was subsidizing the cost of kinky to 2 cedis. Can you imagine a whole constituency? No wonder not too long ago, we are still in it, Manasseh came out with the expose in the corruption in the...
going to subsidize 2 cedis?
Yeah, 2 cedis. That's what Kingsley wrote. That he's subsidizing the cost of kinky for a whole constituency to 2 cedis. Where did you get that money from? So you see how the corruption is caught up with them. So the whole point is that with this kind of economic crisis, with this suffering we are suffering, we can't get proper food to eat, despite what Article 36 of our Constitution has promised us: good governance, maximum welfare, provide adequate living for the citizens, make citizens happy. No, we are not going to be stupid. Because, number one, I voted for Akufo-Addo. Clear, because I thought that this was Junior Jesus. Yeah. How are you going to
voted for him when in 2016
2016.
Yeah, I remember
2016.
the conversation we had on set.
Exactly. Yes, in the 2020 elections, right? Yeah, I voted for him because I thought that he was the one coming to change everything. Because, naturally, I think with hindsight, I suffered a bias because he had been a lawyer at the bar much longer than I'd been. So I think I looked at my personal life and saw what I was doing. I said, then it means that if this man is decades ahead of me, then he must be super, super. Hey! Sana, it doesn't follow. There's no logic in it. No. Because you see, with hindsight, Muhammad that didn't have Akufo-Addo's kind of track record. Hindsight, we've seen that he's a better leader. Because, like I always like mentioning, 3 main indicators: corruption perception index, democracy index, and then press freedom. All these 3, Muhammad is done better than Akufo-Addo. So what is left? You say. So with the retrogression of democracy made worse by the cost of living crisis. No. Come on.
You don't believe that things will turn around before election 2020, December 7th?
It's too late.
8 months?
It's too late. Because you see, the inflation rate for March, it went up. It went up. So it's too late. It's not going to happen. Myself, I've been watching, say that, hey, is the economy going to turn around enough? You see, as for the books will always show an improvement here and there, but the bottom line is that has the price of kinky gone down? Has the price of cocoa gone down less than 3 cedis? Mr. Ocansey or anybody, honorable, in your constituency, has the price of cocoa gone down since the beginning of the year? No. Has the dollar come this, or let's say, has the cedi gone up?
Period.
Yes, because March inflation from the statistical service is gone up.
Inched up. Yes.
It's inched up. It's inched up. So that even throws into doubt the forecast they made that by December will be at 15%. No. Of course, let's be very careful. It's not only in Ghana here that the March one. I followed the US one. Yes, for March, the inflation also went up 0.4%.
But they are hoping for a buffer.
But if you look at, you see, the factors, but the factors that influences the increase are different. You see, so even though you see inflation going up in the US, in the UK, and other parts of Europe, if you drill down the data, you will know, for instance, in Ghana, food inflation was one of the major drivers for this increase. Food prices. And then also transportation.
Excellent.
And we're having transport fares going up at least since the last 2 days or so. So you don't even have to be an economist
and Alfred,
to
don't
project
forget,
that
we're not paying our debt.
So absolutely.
We're not paying our debt. So there's an artificial
exactly on the exchange rate. So when we begin to pay, the city is going to fall flatter, right? Yeah. So all of these feed into the polls that the info analytics Musa Dankwa is done. Look, and you see, if you want to see the real practical side of this election, did you see Baumia and Kumasi? The one he was in the this what do you call it? The convoy. He stood out waving. Few people wave back. Did you see? Do we need to play it?
They were indifferent. A lot of people were indifferent.
Please play it. Let people see.
We have that video.
Yes, so that we watch. That's the post. What Mr. Dankwa is that for? It's not what. Just play it. You see how the people stood there were watching. It's like, Massa, you've made your family better. Now your family can afford to take what do you call it? Scholarships, and not even £17,000. You fall sick, you can't even call the school. You can't put in and defend the cost. £17,000. Look, like I keep saying, Baumia and his family, Samira, his family, they must pay back that money. The files that
no.
This personal money. What are you talking about?
Talk about family. What do
they have to pay by his family. However, they will raise that money. You have to pay back that money. What buyers? But you are the ones that vote. You have never voted for Mahama. I've never voted for Mahama.
No, you can't say that.
So if it's my vote is with,
I haven't seen your vote.
Oh, but people know me.
Don't take it personal.
Don't
take it personal.
People know me. Yes. So the point is that look, that £17,000 they have to pay back. However they are, because otherwise, Baumia, you have no message. If you can't control your family, you take our £17,000. Yes, you take our £17,000, you give to a British school, you are sick, Fauzi Ramadan, you can't defer the cost. You just throw 17,000. Do 17 times what? 17,000 times. Somebody should calculate it for me.
Okay.
They think that after all the noise, people are not angry about this. They will pay it. Or maybe if you want to pay for them, you are welcome. But please don't call that personal because that's an insult to us. Honorable, when you're on this kind of show, you should be mindful of that. You call 17,000. 289,000. With 289,000, Fauzi Ramadan.
Are you telling me
200, you know what that can do in your constituency?
How do you tag that to Baumia?
All right.
But that's his
Okay.
wife's
It's an adult.
brother.
The person you are talking about is an adult. How
But
does
is that
that
not
man
his
take
wife?
responsibility for that?
Okay.
But is that not his
Thank
wife?
That's
you.
been petty.
You call that petty?
Yes.
Also, he would have resigned.
How can he resign?
17,000 pounds.
Thank you.
289, 2.8
The
billion.
person you are talking about is
Thank
an
you.
adult and must be taking.
Thank you very much.
Responsibility.
Now,
Was the wife not campaigning?
gentlemen,
My husband is a
gentlemen,
wasted.
Thank you.
My husband is an economic
thank you.
wasted. They have stolen your money.
Talk about Chinia. So it's.
I'm going to rebut to these things. I can't let it go.
That conversation about that you say you want to respond. What exactly are you responding to?
I mean, lawyer is making an argument that I thought we were looking at the polls, but he has gone on to talk about performance and even making an emphatic statement that Mohammed's performance is far better than Akufo-Addo.
In fact, the polls also captured some performance analysis.
It cannot be the case.
Okay.
It cannot be the case.
Why?
I mean, there are. If you are going to analyze a government and its performance, there are various aspects to which you can analyze it.
Okay.
In terms of the economy, what was the GDP growth at the time Mahama was living? Even in our worst situation today, we are doing better than the situation Mahama was.
No, what was the GDP growth rate when Mahama was living? You.
I mean, it's public information.
No. What was the GDP?
It's public information.
No, wait.
It was less than 3%.
It
was less than 3%. I am saying that the GDP growth and our worst situation today is better than Mohammed's situation at the time of 2016. In terms of education, Akufo-Addo's policies and the impact it has on the Ghanaian youth, I mean, it's so massive. Free secondary education, you are telling me this is a policy that has affected the ordinary Ghanaians across the country. Non-discriminatory. In terms of the economy, let's be honest, there is a global turn down. It is not just exclusive to Ghana. It is not exclusive to Ghana.
No, are you
because of the COVID situation, all over the world. Tell me any country that economy has not gone down. Tell me one.
Are you ascribing the state of our situation now to the Russia, Ukraine, and COVID-19?
All of that has affected our economy, just like any other country. No, and I'm asking you, or asking my lawyer, to tell me any country since COVID occurred, any country in the world which economy is now better than it was before COVID.
Wait,
tell me one.
I'm saying that is that
every country's economy has been affected. Every country's economy has been affected.
Yes. The US,
their economy has been affected. Even banks have closed down in the US.
How many banks?
Banks have closed down in the US.
Banks? The Silicon Valley, there were 2 banks.
It doesn't matter. Even if it's one. Even if it's one.
Who says it was the COVID?
So what do you mean? I am just telling you that.
Look, inflation. Look, let me tell you. Even inflation, out of their problems, they didn't go beyond 10%. UK, US. But your inflation went to 54%.
There was an increase.
Your inflation went to 54%.
In the US.
But they have since recovered.
Every economy there has been depletion in their economy.
Look, Ukraine is back producing more goods. Even Ukraine, where the war took place, you know, they are still exporting.
I am just
and
saying,
we are still importing from Ukraine.
That
so what is this?
Ukraine's situation today is worse than it was before the war.
Ukraine, where the bombs are, they are still exporting grain. Ukraine, where the war is, the bombs are landing. They are still producing enough and exporting. You are not in Ukraine.
Thank you.
You can't even.
I am just telling you that
you can't see the people.
There is no country
in
the world.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
What are you talking about?
Now, I need to. Yes. Just to be clear, I'll come to you, and I know Musa will have to leave us as well. But look, there's no doubt that Russia, Ukraine, and COVID-19 impacted our economy. But that cannot be the only reason why. Even the IMF's own report, and Honorable Chinia, this is one thing that is public document or information that you can find.
But I have never said that those are the only reasons. Have I said that?
I see. So what are the other reasons?
Have I said those are the only reasons?
This advocated or articulated analysis.
The point I'm trying to make, and to let my brother understand is that every country's economy all over the world has been affected since COVID and
Russia. Thank you. But you do know. Quick one. Quickly. Yes.
Let me make a submission. You know, the point that Martin said about Vice President, I don't want to get into that argument, but the point that Martin said about the vice president relative having behaved in a manner that is unethical, so to speak, all right, and elsewhere, they would have resigned. It's true.
Indeed.
Look, when you go to the US and the UKs and all those Scandinavian countries, people's relatives have been found to have done things that are not appropriate, and they've taken responsibility because they must recognize that their relative is in a higher position, and so their conduct actually affects the integrity of such a person. I mean, we're here when you have ministers, singularly taking decisions that the president even doesn't know. At the end of the day, don't you say that the president has failed? You were in this country when Victoria Hammer was even having a conversation about her 1 million adventure or her 1 million
just
dream,
Ghana
all right? But we visited the president, with that particular. So we must be mindful as public figures of what our relatives. Look, I have personally asked my nephew to leave my class to another class because I didn't want to have anything to do with, what do you call conflict of interest. All right, because there were about 3 or 4 different classes that I could teach that particular course, and he was in my class. I asked him because if he make A, I don't win. Obviously. If he make D, I don't win. And so we must start getting that consciousness, that public consciousness, that ethical conduct when you're in higher office does not only relate to you, your relatives, etc., and their conduct would affect your integrity. And so we have to actually stick to those things.
Prof.
But thank you. I think that
just a little point.
Thank you. I think that I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
I just wanted to.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you on it because I had you respond to what Lawyer Matipebo said for good reason. You had reactions. You stated it. What Professor Kobi-Mensah has talked about is just to put the issues within a particular context to also, as it were, add another layer to what Lawyer Matipebo was saying. That is not a substantive issue. Kofi Adams, you see, we've gotten to a point where, as a country, the reflection of the state of affairs of the voters or the people, cost of living, and others influences decisions that people make on a daily basis. Now, if you see a poll like this and conducted within a particular period, for you as the NDC, how do you analyze the details of this poll going forward, especially taking into consideration that this is 8 months to the election and anything can happen?
Well, Alfred, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've intentionally been sitting here quietly, and so I believe that I'll get the same courtesy as I do my presentation. You see, Chinyere would have done this program good if he had kept to his initial presentation and had not interjected
Make your point without my name.
presented
make your point
false
without my name.
information. You see, he is not only a deputy minister, he is also an MP. So we have access to documents. Unfortunately, some people don't read when they receive the documents, or either they read and forget. In 2024 budget was presented to us. If you go to just page 9, not even a far page, to say that it's so far, the notes, the GDP of 2016 was presented by their own Minister for Finance to be what? 3.6. That of 2023 was what? 1.2%. But for a deputy minister and an MP who has this document to come sit here and continue to reference what does not exist, for me, it's disappointing. This program is not for joke.
What is the growth now?
This program.
What is the growth rate now? I didn't make reference to 2023, so he should not misquote me. What is the GDP growth rate now relative to 2016? Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay, so
we haven't
wait. No, please. You made a comment about the GDP growth rate
of 2016 being less than 3.
Wait. Being less than 3. That is not the case. That's number 1. 2, the GDP growth of 2024
is unavailable yet.
Has not been computed yet. So the reference point for any GDP growth rate year-on-year analysis will be the end of 2023. Please, do you understand?
He doesn't understand. He will not understand.
Wait.
He will not understand.
Wait. Do you understand?
I don't get it, and I don't agree.
All right, please. Kofi Adams, please.
I told you that he will not understand. First and foremost, we haven't even done mid-year review. Okay. If we had even done mid-year review, maybe the minister will be telling us the half-year or the first quarter growth rate into the... We haven't even done that for 2024. Okay. So those figures are unavailable.
Right.
What we are dealing with is 2023, and he lied. Again, you cannot sit here and have a situation of the Sky Trains, have the Ejapa payment, have the Muta Angels payment, have the Power China payment for Pualugu for no work done, running into millions of dollars. And you sit here and say you have been responsible. They have not been responsible in the management of the economy. And specifically to Dr. Bawumia, don't forget the PDS deal. That condition precedent, that he changed to condition subsequent, and changed a bank guarantee to an insurance guarantee that they used to defraud us. As we speak now, billions of our monies collected by PDS have not been accounted for. Courtesy Dr. Bawumia.
Would it be a subject of investigation for you if you should?
But we will deal with all these issues. We will deal with all these. But coming to Musa Dankwe's work that he did, I have taken the trouble to go through all the 143 questions that they posed, and I've also taken the trouble to look at the report. And once more, one is so surprised that people who hail, you mentioned Outcomes International report as one of the bodies whose survey they are saying is placing them ahead of what? John Dramani Mahama. Do you know that this same Outcome International predicted that Dr. Bawumia was going to get 80.8% of their delegate election votes? What did he get? For a group that predicted 80.8% for Dr. Bawumia in their primaries, and considering what he got, they are happy with such group. But they are unhappy with one that predicted a by-election with an error margin of what, 2-point-something%. And if there's a change, that one they feel so dissatisfied. I have looked at the report, and the report presents so much details that should help any serious political party to consider what it is that it has to consider. And one key thing, they ask of persons, what are the issues upon which they will be voting? 66% talked about jobs. 64% were interested in the economy. 47% education. 27% roads. 20% healthcare and corruption. 18% taxes. Petroleum prices, 11%, and so on and so forth, graduating down to some percentages that I will consider insignificant. You see, the MPP affiliated persons who were surveyed, 36% of them said they will blame Dr. Bawumia for the economic mess. 36% of MPP affiliated persons who were surveyed. And it's in the report. 5% said they had no opinion. And mostly when people say no opinion, it's most likely that they think you are the cause, but they don't want to say. Those who believe that you are not the cause are very comfortable to say you are not the cause. So I am likely to add that 5% to the 36%, making 41% of MPP affiliates saying that Dr. Bawumia is to blame for the economic mess.
That's your interpretation of it?
That's my interpretation of that. So clearly, if you link all this, when you go to the trust report and what have you, it also shows that they cannot trust, they don't trust Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia cannot be trusted more than, he scored 1.89%, while John Dramani Mahama was scoring 2.05, not in terms of percentage, but in terms of scaling. This should tell you that if an outcome such as this is presented, What you need to be doing is to be working towards bettering whatever it is that you are supposed to be doing. And 32% of MPP affiliates also saw the country going in a wrong direction. Aside 36% that they will blame directly the vice president for economic mess. 32% of MPP affiliates in this report says the country is going in a wrong direction. 8% again said no opinion. If you add that 8% to the 32, you are getting 40%. You see why the 41, when I said I'll add 5% to 36 and get 41, you see the correlation. Yeah. When you read the report, you take your time and read the report, page by page, item by item. You will see some consistency of flow. And once you see that, it should tell you that such a survey, such a poll is close to credible. It's close to credible. And also look at the percentage allotment to regions. Greater Accra was weighted 20%. Ashanti region, 18%. Eastern region, 10%. Of course, you do this according to what? The population densities and then the voter numbers. And then you have Central region, 9%. Western region, 7%. These are two floating regions. Then you come to Northern region and Volta region, that was given 6%. And if you have these weighted percentages providing you this data, it should be telling you something. You don't just speak out there and then throw it away that, oh no, this is not something that you would have to. But, Alfred, it's their nature. When Economic and Intelligence Unit, EIU, predicted for them in 2016, they welcomed it. When today they are predicting differently, they are criticizing them. So it is no different.
But Honorable Chinia says they are taking this in good faith and they would formulate their strategy on
like
the
I
outcome,
said
is it not?
In the beginning, that's why I said if he had left his presentation at that, he would have made some very impactful statement on this platform. And it meant that I agree with the positioning he took when it came to analyzing the global info analytics report. But it is the other interjections in relation to the presentation of co-panelists that I thought that he went haywire and presented falsehood. So his position, for me, is the way to go. But I am analyzing discussions that have also gone out there by key party persons and who are involved in the campaigns more than maybe what Chinie is involved in. At least I have heard the director of communication, Miracles Abuaji, speak. I've heard other persons. I've heard the parties, the director of communication himself also speak to these reports and then what have you. So that is what I'm analyzing, not Chinie's position on the findings. But moving on, you would have to also look at the top issues, as I indicated, that voters are interested in. And if they feel these are the issues that they are interested in, and if they feel that Dr. Bawumia is to blame for the economic mess that has happened, and they are going to vote based on competence, based on someone who can better manage the economy, they say competence 67%, better manager of economy 66%, can fight corruption 49%, can transform the country 45%, have integrity 42%, a man of his own 37%. If these percentages and the issues of concern for them is selecting the one to become president, I am not surprised that they scored John Dramani Mahama high and want to win the elections. Because if you link this to the previous findings, then clearly the outcome will be that this will be the result. Yes, it may happen that some of the other allotments to some other candidates could go to them. And don't forget, when Chinie was talking about if they will lose, they are not likely to lose even by less than 40%. Don't also forget it will depend on the performance of Alan Kojo Chiramanten. Alan is a major factor that is going to eat into your base. And so if Alan is going to take a lot of the votes, it will bring you below the 40%. That you will get above 40% if all things stay equal and there's no Alan. But now you have an Alan in there. If he performs the way this survey is indicating, or even better, you will get below the 40% that you are thinking that naturally that is what you have control over. Because of the absence of Alan, you may not have control over that. And especially when you have such situations coming against you when you are in government. No political party indeed have survived such a major tsunami with the key persons involved when they are in government winning that election. Mm-hmm. The NDC suffered it in the year 2000 when we had the Reform Party and Eagle and all those ones moving out and then having their contest. But you see, when you are in opposition, you can sometimes manage it. And that was why when DFP, Dr. Beda Samoa and his group left in 2006, because we were in opposition, it didn't impact heavily on us. But even that, we have to have a runoff to be able to win that election. So they need to be very, very careful and not live in a paradise of deception that, oh, we have this percentage, we cannot come below because the survey gave us less than 40%. It means that, no, it is not a credible survey. You must factor the performance of Alan there. If you look at the percentage that Alan is getting, if you add it to what it is that they got, you are jumping the 40%. Mm-hmm. Don't forget what Prof also said, the issue of apathy. If you listen to comments from chiefs and opinion leaders in their stronghold regions, and you listen to questions posed to even the regional minister to mention 5 projects that as a government they have executed in Ashanti region where he is the minister, he was asking the person that he should ask NDC that was not on that platform to mention what project they have done in Ashanti region. It didn't end with just the regional minister. The minister for roads and highways, who until recently was the minister for works and housing and was a deputy chief of staff, was equally asked to mention same projects in Ashanti region. He was mentioning Kumasi International Airport, an airport that we all know is in 3 phases, 2 phases of which the NDC dealt with. The NDC completed phase 1. The NDC secured funding and cut short for commencement of phase 2. The same contractor is doing phase 2 and phase 3. He proposed that combining the 2 will make it better and give a saving of not less than $4 million. Of course, the MPP sourced funding for phase 3. But the phase 3 funding is just about a little above $40 million. So how do you say you are the one who have changed the Kumasi Airport into an international when your contribution, whether monetary or in terms of what, commencement of projects, is less than maybe 25% of the commitment to making that project a reality? So clearly, that apathy.
So are you going to sleep because now?
Not at all. Not at all.
You are uncomfortably?
Not at all. Not at all. If you consider the kind of work that we are doing, the submarine engagements and many things that is going on, we are not. You see, we need to save this country. This is not just about NDC. This is about Ghana. This is about saving Ghana to stop all kinds of things that are happening. It's unfortunate Chinyere was not available when we did the recent Public Accounts Committee sitting. He's a member of the Public Accounts Committee. The sacked Controller and Accountant General appeared before us. And in the report that he presented, what we call the General Government Accounts, what he himself signed off indicated that our liabilities have jumped from just a year from 449 billion to 810 billion, just in such a short time. Look, our total liabilities end December 31st, 2022, 810 billion, 470 million, 457,793. And as at 2021 December, it was 459 billion. And just in a year, it jumped to 810 billion. This is signed off, not like anybody. This is his own statement. Yes, signed it. Kwesikwe Nimbosompi, Controller and Accountant General, date 27th March 2023. Signed. That's our liability. And we asked him, he even said some of the debts some of the liabilities may not have been captured. Meaning some liabilities may even be hidden. Just within a year, you have this jump, and you have nothing to show for it. And they say we should sit here and celebrate them, and that we must not salvage this country. And even when the Bank of Ghana also came before, some payments that they made, payments for no work done. And this is the second time that we are. Muta Angel have no contract with government, have no contract with the state. There was paid money, $2.57 million for Temamoto Way expansion project. When it's only December 15th, 2023, that Parliament of Ghana approved the contract for Temamoto Way expansion project, and it's even to be funded by Ghana Infrastructure and Investment Fund using a special purpose vehicle called ATEP Limited. And the contractor is MS Maripoma Limited and not Muta Angel. But Muta Angel has been paid $2.57 million for the same work that he has no contract for. The motorway expansion.
So how are we going to retrieve that money?
Well, we have
the money has been paid.
We have to
over
retrieve
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million have been paid
for no work done.
For no work done.
Public Accounts Committee, what are you going to do?
I'll come to that. Power China International Group was also given payment for Palugu multipurpose irrigation project, $11.949 million, and they have done no work there. So
the Palugu multipurpose dam.
Exactly.
Power China. Over almost $12 million have been
almost paid. $12 million have been paid to them for no work done. And we sit here, we say we are managing the economy well. This is the report, the Bank of Ghana Foreign Exchange Receipts and Payment report. This is what is happening to this country. So you go to Ejapa, $12 million. You go to SkyTrain from GIF, $2 million. You go here, this. You go there. We are not talking about cities. And this is how our money is being spent. They were just talking about the scholarship secretariat, how monies have been paid, and if it were to be your own private money, will you pay that amount of money and not go to school and make no arrangement to defer? No. But that is how our monies are being spent.
But you see, in the end, mentioning all of these figures, now we get to know, as a committee, I mean, what are you doing? And it's good that both of you are members of the same Public Accounts Committee, because we were at the Palugu multipurpose dam site 2 weeks ago. There's nothing happening there. And getting to know that $12 million has been paid. And in the case of the SkyTrain, we already parted ways with some money.
$2 million.
Over $2 million into some special purpose vehicle that we don't know what is happening right now. So what are you going to do?
Well, the committee has its work defined. We will probe further and to find out who gave the authorization, because the Bank of Ghana will not pay without some certificate.
Right.
So who prepared certificate of work?
Absolutely.
To make such payments when no work has been done. We would have to find that. If we don't find anything and Bank of Ghana themselves went ahead to pay without citing, then they also have questions to answer. But it's not going to end. It's not going to end here at all. We will present our report, though, to the plenary. The Public Accounts Committee will do its report, will present the report to the plenary. The plenary will debate it. But these are issues that would be sorted out and dealt with as a country, and then moving forward. We can continue. And these are things that, of course, when you look at the survey, they are indicating they are looking for someone who can fight also corruption, and can fight corruption 49%. Because these are serious concerns.
It's 40 minutes at the top of the hour. 9. This is Key Point on TV3. We're also live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. And look, it's some of the issues that you spoke about. Is one, we've already started some work on it here. And so this is additional information which is really good, especially for public accountability and how our monies are being spent. Because some of the projects that you talk about that we don't see anything on the ground or on site, but yet so much money has gone in there, certainly quite a worry. But the other issue, talk about, you know, monies going to certain places and what is happening on the ground, is the performance tracker. Because that's one of the objectives that you had in putting this tracker together, so that people would know where to find projects. And as you indicated, what the taxpayers' money is being used for. I want to take a listen to Kojo Ponkroma, who is a Minister for Works and Housing, when this performance tracker was launched this week. Take a look.
It's an empowerment tool. It empowers all of us, all of society, so that together we can track our common progress. The general public is asking questions. Those questions are answered on this platform. Development partners want to know, when we give you, budget assistance or specific project financing, what do you use it for? The answers are here. The media is asking questions on a regular basis. The fourth estate of the realm, holding government accountable. What has government done with the resources of the state? The answers are here. Civil society organizations, sometimes across various sectors, are asking questions. The answers are here. And here, on an academic premises like this, you also do know that the academia is always asking questions. The answers are here. The performance tracker has an architecture of about 5 key parts. The information is organized in 5 key, may I say, buckets.
So it's indeed where the media is asking questions, gentlemen. Yes, the media is asking questions, demanding some level of accountability as well in that regard. And then also, Kojo Ponkroma talked about an issue of the data in there, because the aftermath of this launch has seen a number of things, including some of the details of this, the projects captured on this tracker being questioned as whether it's the reality of the situation on the ground, the reflection of the situation on the ground. I want to take a listen to the second part of Kojo Ponkroma when he said the issues about the data credibility and then also the verification that had been done in putting this out there. Take a look.
We are responsible for the information we consume. If you choose that you will spend, and I say this with the greatest of respect, you spend all your time on a particular social media platform consuming half-truths, false narratives, etc. You are responsible for that information you are consuming. The government of the Republic of Ghana is providing you a database where the facts about projects across the 261 districts are available. The least you can do is to navigate and be informed, so that when you get into that conversation with somebody, you can speak to facts that you yourself have verified on this particular app. And then we also want to encourage you to check for continuous updates, because this is a live platform. It will be updated literally on a daily basis, so please continue to check for those continuous updates. For platforms of this nature all over the world, you may find 1 or 2 little challenges here and there. Shortly, we will open up a feedback window so that you can give us that feedback, and then where corrections need to be made, those corrections can be made. We don't claim perfection, but the leader who is charged us to do this, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is clear that this should be done. We should use these digital platforms to account to the people and take feedback and make the necessary corrections. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Ghana, we want to declare the Tracker 2.0 duly launched.
The data gathered is from 2017 to June 2023. So you are aware that recently we launched...
Well, so that's Kojo Ponkroma there. A number of things that he said, the highlights, that this performance tracker is meant to combat half-truths, falsehood, and misinformation, so that we can all speak to facts, verified facts on that platform, as well, because all the information there has been verified and authenticated before putting it there. Before we went to bed yesterday, the Information Ministry's X and Facebook handles had put out this information that, quote, following the successful launch of the performance tracker, the government expresses gratitude. They go on and say that their attention has been drawn to 67 entries which were erroneously included. And for some persons who have seen this, the use of the word erroneously itself raises fundamental questions, because obviously, who is responsible for inputting the data on the platform? It cannot be any third party. So if there was any erroneous, as it were, objective, questions should be asked of the person who is inputting the data there, that how come 67 entries which were not supposed to be included were put there. But Honorable Chinia, this tracker, what is the ultimate goal? I mean, you doing this, because if the project is there, the people will see. Is this really going to make any specific difference?
Well, before I go there, let me speak to some few issues before I get into this performance tracker.
Quickly.
My brother Kofi Adams made some allusions to the Public Accounts Committee and some reports before the Public Accounts Committee.
I'll grant you that, since you're a member as well.
I have not had the benefit of reading the report.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't want to make any conclusive remarks, except to say that he's very much aware that sometimes there are certain expenditures that are reported either misused or not accounted for as a result of lack of submission of certain necessary documentation. And at the end of the day, the department and agencies involved are able to actually substantiate those expenditures at the end. I have not had the benefit of reading the report and then getting additional information. But, I mean, whatever it is for accountability of those resources. And once it has been captured in the auditor's report, it will be dealt with appropriately. And if anybody is found to have misappropriated some government funds, certainly the law will deal with the person appropriately. Now, the other issue was he talking about Alan's impact. I mean, I have said that I don't have any difficulty with the polls at all.
You indicated that.
It's a guide. I mean, we have our own facts, we have our own thinking, we have our own plans, and we are guided by that. This additional information that we need to take on board. But in 2012, Nana Konodu, the former first lady, a very influential character in the NDC, broke away from a party, contested, but they still won the election. So anything is possible. Indeed. We are not taking these analysis for granted. We are not taking Alan's exit for granted. We'll do what is right. We'll work hard, and by the grace of God, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be elected. The last one before I get to this. My senior brother, the lawyer, I mean, I've liked him from afar. I mean, he's an influencer. A lot of young people look up to him, Prof. I have known him from afar. The issue about Dr. Bawumia's brother-in-law scholarship, I do agree that if you're a public figure and anybody around you, especially related to you, misconduct him or herself in a way that it can be concluded that you have a hand or you are in one way or the other responsible for the action, I mean, as a public officer, you must be dealt with. But let's also be fair. When you are dealing with an adult who is related to me as an MP, a brother of mine, an in-law of mine, goes to misconduct himself somewhere, that has nothing to do with me. And then you say because of that misconduct of that adult, independent adult, which I have no hand, or probably I even had no information about what the person did until the issue came out, I must be held responsible because I'm a public officer. I don't think that will be fair enough. If this brother-in-law Bawumia got scholarship independently, probably without the knowledge of Dr. Bawumia, and didn't go to the school, and so should be held responsible as an adult. I don't see how that should be a matter that should affect.
I think it can be investigated.
Yes, but if it can be, of course, it can be established that the public officer has a hand.
Yes.
So
yes, that's why I'm saying Baumia has a hand in the scholarship. And the one saying
no, but that one you can't.
He has a hand in the scholarship.
You have no evidence.
Tell
us the evidence.
It's because of Baumia he got a scholarship.
No, that is perception. It's an assumption, lawyer.
So investigation. You know Hotel Kufuor. Kufuor came and said his son, Chief Kufuor, is an adult. The Ghanaians agree.
No,
Hotel Kufuor.
But you are.
So I want us to go on.
There are issues of morality and issues of law.
Yes.
Morally, some people
can
no.
Law comes from morality.
Yes, but you know that moral issues cannot necessarily.
It's a precursor.
I want us to make progress.
No,
please.
So I'm just making the point that if Dr. Baumia, you cannot establish that he has a hand in getting the scholarship for the person and should be responsible for whether the person went or not. You cannot say because of that it should affect his public office. And for now, you have not shown any evidence to buttress that Baumia was the one responsible for the scholarship. And so, for me, I think Baumia has nothing to do with the scholarship.
Oh, well,
Council, you support that investigation should be conducted to establish.
I mean, every public officer,
because politically exposed persons have been captured in this. And to answer all these questions, investigations.
Every public officer is subject to the law and to investigations.
Right. Okay.
And I also find it very unfair, Alfred. If you look at the number of people who got scholarships under this government, you make reference to a few people and try to trace their lineage as though. If I am an MP, no relation of mine can get scholarship.
Subject that we will come to.
What about the thousands of people who got scholarship who cannot trace their lineage to any public officer?
Okay.
You see, let's be fair in this country. Now, to the performance tracker. I think that the essence of this tracker is to make available to Ghanaians the works and the projects that have been done by this government.
Okay.
Because accountability requires that information is made available. If you want to be accountable, you have to make information available. If the information is not available, how are you accounting to the people? Because you cannot assume that people are aware of the projects. Or sometimes they can see the projects, but they may not avert their mind to the projects as government projects or projects that have been undertaken under a particular regime. So accountability comes with availability of information on projects and activities of a government that is in place.
Okay.
And so this government has thought it wise to have this performance tracker so that all the projects, district by district, region by region, and as a country, are in one portal where every Ghanaian can have access to and access the information for your own use in either way. So I think that we as a country should laud the government for this particular initiative, because today if you go to the performance tracker, district by district, you can find all the over 10,000 projects in education, in health, in road infrastructure, in scholarship, and in industry, in job creation, every aspect of our economy. What the government has achieved so far is contained in there, so that people can have access to information on government performance and government projects and all that. And you just read the shortcoming of the tracker that the information ministry has put out, that 67 projects have probably mistakenly been
erroneously included. Who included them there?
Well, I mean, human beings are not, apart from God, everybody makes mistakes. But you are looking at the significance of the mistakes. I mean, for me,
the information minister
before this tracker, when this tracker was being commissioned, don't also forget they made very important points as to, I mean, people can access the information where there are information that cannot be substantiated. They can review it. Where some information have been left out, there can be additions and all that. And so these projects that have been added, which shouldn't have been part. Of course, they have also identified over 70 projects which should have been part, which have not been part. And so these projects have been taken out and the additions have been made. But you are talking about over 10,000 projects.
No. If you listen to Kojo Nkrumah, he was very clear. And also, the Fatima Abubakar afterwards spoke that all the information there has been verified.
Yes,
and validated.
Yes.
Even before you put out the launch, and that you've done all the checks.
You see, we are human beings. Sometimes the people you put in charge of activities can let you down. I am looking at the percentage or the deviation. I mean, 64 so far, 67 out of over 10,000. It's very insignificant. It doesn't affect the potency of the project. I am not saying that it should have happened. I mean, it's avoidable. But you see, there was a system put in place for verification validation. For instance, I serve as a deputy minister, Minister of Sanitation and Water. Now, lawyer, don't go there. I serve as a deputy minister, and all the projects that the ministry undertook within the period were put on the tracker. The ministry was asked to come and go through and validate.
And you did so?
Yeah, and we did so.
You validated.
So the possibility that maybe in that process, a particular ministry, a particular assembly can make a mistake and allow in one or two projects which probably shouldn't be there is possible.
But
so the people at the top, because they don't have first-hand information, all the projects, they are only coordinating the activities of the ministries, departments, and then the district assemblies. So the validation was actually done by the ministries and the 261 assemblies. So if my ministry went, and probably we have done, say, 60 projects, and we have added a project that probably was done before we come into office, and probably the small percentage of work that was done, or maybe commission or something, and then it was added, which shouldn't be the case. Those things sometimes can happen. But I am talking about the level. We should look at the level. But as for human institution, nobody should talk about not having errors. But you are looking at the impact of the errors on what you do.
Yeah, talk about the impact. Because the main objective of this was to combat half-truths, misinformation, and falsehood.
But Alfred, if you have over 10,000 projects, let's say that over 10,000 projects and 100 or 200 of them have been identified to have been mistakenly put there. I mean,
you think it's not
so that overrides the significance of the remaining over 10,000 projects. Then even
you don't think
listen. It also means that the polls and all those things that we are talking of, which have margin of errors, I mean, we should not even accept them.
Well, you see,
I mean, there can always be a margin of error in every situation.
Okay.
As far as human beings are concerned, some people will let you down. For instance, these polls that you are talking of, there are people who do a clean job for you. There are others who do a biased job because you are dealing with individuals. I don't think the errors are so much that you should overweigh the importance of the rest of the projects, which are the majority.
But you didn't indicate that there was any error on this tracker when you launched it. I still go back to the words. You say it's important.
Sometimes I get surprised. But when you go to school, let me ask you this thing. When you are an SS professor, do your students get 100% before they get A? They don't get 100% before they get A. There is a margin. You say the person scores between 75 to 100 is getting A, or 80 to 100 is getting A. It means that they can.
A different comparison of two different scenarios or situations.
Prof, they are not. What you are only seeking to say is that a student must not be recorded as an A student only when you get 100%.
I see.
So it means that in every situation, in every human situation, you cannot necessarily get 100% before your work is considered good or excellent. So in this particular case, you don't expect to get 100% perfection to consider the work well done. Just 67 errors cannot undermine a job out of over 10,000 projects. Okay. 67 errors cannot undermine this job. Let me make reference to the NDC in their time. Came out with this green book. You remember? Were there no errors? But for me, when you put data together,
The intention is to let people see what you have done. Where there are errors, you must admit the errors and do corrections. But to expect to get 100%, or the fact that some mistakes have been identified, then now invalidates the whole work. I mean, for me, it doesn't hold. Then we can never have any human institution that can do any work that we can ever accept.
Well, let me go, Professor Kobimensa, you see, when this thing was done, we've had a number of conversations, but you see, with the angle that Nwochenia is bringing in after this admission of some errors on the page or on this tracker by government, does that invalidate in any way the specific concerns about the objective of this tracker, which was meant to inform? So if you have this, and especially because we got to know that they have been at it for quite a while now, there's been a lot of work that has gone on. That's why Kojo Pokuma was very confident that the information there has gone through various stages of validation. And then we have this. And it's just SS67 that were added. There are other projects that are on it that have actually been verified, fact-checked by media, which we're going to be showing in a bit, to reveal that it's actually not the case. If you say some are 100% complete, we found out that some of them are really no near in any form of completion. So knowing all this, Prof, does this impact on the objective of this project in itself?
Okay, thank you, Alfred. Now let's consider quite a number of things. I think in 2008, that's when Obama came to power, right?
Sure.
Now, from that end, I think around 2011, there had been conversations about what we call the open government, all right, as a way of governance, better way of governance. So countries have teamed up to sort of have this .gov, website where people can see what government is doing. Because you can be in Sekendi Takrady and not know what government is doing internally, for example. I mean, as part of accountability, you want to make sure that people can have access to data. And don't forget, stakeholders in government go beyond the citizenship, all right? You have development partners. Even you have academics who want information to do, some kind of research, all right? You have people who have given you money and they want to see what is being done. You have African diaspora who are looking at what their countries of origin, administration are doing. So that open government principle or open government practice was actually mooted, and quite a number of countries actually joined. And I suppose from our end, if you look at the government behaviors, over the period, could be likened to that particular idea, that particular rationale or objective. You had, I think, during NDC time, they did policy fair. I don't know whether I'm right.
Yes.
Is it an NDC time? Yeah, where people can go to. They used to have it with trade fair, is that correct? Where people go, then they saw what government is doing, the policies, etc. Fast forward, they brought Green Book as a way of accountability. Now, to 2020 elections, MPP brought the delivery tracker, all right, which they advertised or they publicized project that they are doing. So I take it that it is from that particular principle or practice of open government that all these things had been done in the past. Now, my problem that I had, all right, and I still have, was that from what Kojo Nkrumah said, that this is Tracker 2.0, if it was the case that it's to support the rationale or the objective of open government for people to be seeing government accountable, why was the delivery tracker pulled down at the time right after the 2020 elections? I thought if it's a project to open the government up for people to see, you would have bettered it and then refined it, and then onwards you would be putting the project
updating the data.
Otherwise, the performance tracker today wouldn't be a conversation because it would have been with us. You would have refined it. Your data sources had been defined. The processes of vetting or validating project had been verified, had been defined, and then things have been smoothly. I'm sure the user interface of the website had even been improved. So that tells you that in terms of rationale, it is not necessarily that of open government. It is for something else. Now, let's look at the scope of it. I ask myself, why are you saying that projects have been put at, they are erroneous? Is it erroneous because they are not so-called MPP projects? and people have tagged it as NDC project, or what? What is the definition of erroneous?
There wasn't
now,
detail given.
The point is that governance is a continuous, and a business people will say going concern, all right? Businesses are going concern. Governance is a going concern. So whether it's an NDC project or MPP project, it's a Ghana project. It's a country Ghana project. Now, unfortunately, the politicians have become so partisan, and especially some, politicians, to the extent that project that has been started by a certain administration, even to a point of 90%, they don't want to complete. And when they complete, they don't want to give credit to the previous administration that started it. And because of that, they are caught up in their own web that they feel uncomfortable, all right, declaring to the people that this project was started by a administration and we have continued it because of their own language that they've used to bastardize, governance processes. And so they find that if this project is seen as, not started and completed by you, then perhaps it's erroneous. And it's actually biting back, that particular position. So the scope of it, when you have to tell us, what's the scope of the project? Why, if it's an open government, intentions, why would you only upload so-called MPP started and completed project alone when the people who are funding this project are actually Ghanaian taxpayer? And so we should know, if that is the intention, the entire development of the country. So that if I am in Sekindita, I know that in Tamale, government has done a certain, overfly or something like that. That is what we are talking about, not partisanship, all right? And let's look at the timing. Why is it that always when it's getting to elections, before you bring a certain tracker? All right. So for me, I think that the politicians must start having a renewal of minds, all right? Because they are costing us. They are not making us, realize that they are development agencies. Now, let me take you back to the classroom as well. See, whenever you are doing a project, there's a theory behind it. People discount theory, yet they spend so much money to go to the classroom for us to teach them and then get a certificate. And I'm sure that the person who did this website, all right, had been in the classroom. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the knowledge to put that. But what is the quality guide framework that he was taught about how to actually develop a website? What is the quality guide? What is the framework? Now, I pulled up a work that my own senior did, Henson and Co. They did a study about website quality and brands, banks in Ghana. And you see, the framework for establishing a website quality, they talk about ease of use, they talk about usefulness, they talk about conservation of the visitor, they talk about visitor return. Now, go to the tracker. And I'm an enthusiast of IT, so digitalization, I love it a lot. So I know a thing or two about it. If you go to the tracker, all right, and then you type in, there's a section here. You see, the tracker is here, right? Now, when you go to our achievement, and in fact, I've called even the secretariat and I asked them, if you go to our achievement, all right, it says project search, all right? When you click on project search, it gives you, this filter. Listen to the word filter. Now, filter means that it would put you in the scope of your key themes that you select, all right? So you select, let's say, education, filter, all right? Education. Now, when you select education, there is something called logic. The logic function is that immediately I select education, I should have maybe first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, or maybe human development and education. I should have, let's say, infrastructure and education, all right? Now, this is filter. Go to category. You see, when you click on category, what do you have? Affordable housing, afforestation, Agenda 111, airport, ambulance. How is this related to education?
I see. So even under education, as you are filtering the information, you still have information that is not related to education.
Exactly. So how is this user-friendly? And could you use it big language, user-friendly, it is this, is that. Please, as a minister, for me, you see, it's about pride. I always tell people that I'm very, very proud about what I know. So I would not, if I was the minister, sanction and organize this, a presser, or no, a launch in front of the whole world. to say that this is a top-notch, this is what, 2.0, Tracker 2.0, really? And you talk about stakeholders, like those who have given us money to do project, whether we're doing it. If a British official, I'm in front of a British official, and he's saying, I'm going to check the tracker and see what, I will be so embarrassed that a government of Ghana, not an individual, not a private person, a government of Ghana could not even ensure user-friendliness of a common website. What does that speak to us? Forget about even the so-called erroneous project that is there, which Honorable is saying that they are in their thousands. Let's take it for granted that. But the one who is building this site supposedly had been to school and been taught about web quality, how to ensure web quality, and could do this for how much I could imagine. I'm so surprised. I'm scandalized by that. You know, and I ask myself, where is our pride as a country? We cannot even ensure website quality. Look at the telephone number there. Go up and see the telephone number.
Let's go up.
Is that telephone number a certain government of Ghana? You know, when you look at quality websites, all right, you're also looking at the telephone, the information. 053 number. Wow. Government of Ghana. If a foreign person, if like a British person, an American person, is looking at Government of Ghana website, they do not expect to see 053.
That is
it's a telephone, it's a mobile number. Yeah, Government of Ghana, you expect to see 030 or something like that, right? 053, come on. It is so embarrassing. And for me, I am not speaking about this because, you know, there is a certain people think that we are against this government, but I'm talking about country Ghana. How do we hold our pride? And you pay so much money, I am sure, for this.
How much did it cost us as a people? I'm sure, or somebody in your party funded it.
I don't know. You see, so for me, my point is clear. Even if you're not getting it from a delivery perspective, the economy is in shambles, everything. Things that we can control. Come on. Let's put some. So for somebody has supervised this, and the Home Minister had gone on to speak big English. Somebody even saying, the minister was saying, it's real time. Come on, man. This can't be real time. It can't be. And when you go inside it, they say they have put measures in place for us to know the GPS location of project. Click on it. You just go to our achievement, go to search, and see. The web pages, the coordinates that they talk about is non-existent. It says, I'm sorry, there's nothing there.
So
when you go to the images.
And then, so we go to
project search.
Project search.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you see the filter there. So select the category. Select the theme. Theme first. Theme first.
Up.
Yeah, theme. Choose any of the theme. But let's say education.
Come down to say education. Education.
Yeah. Down. Yeah.
No. Down.
Not
scroll
down. Education.
Scroll down. Yes. Then.
So you can even select 3-unit classroom block. Select that one. You see the thing there that says, you know, that F thing there?
Yes.
It's supposed to mean like a GPS location, pointer, which when you click on it, it's supposed to take you to the place of the thing. Yes. You click what is clickable.
It's not.
Does it?
It's not.
And where it says web page, even in some of the things they say web page, when you click on it, there's nothing. See, it says 100% completed. What's the image? What's the evidence? You can't put this number, everybody can do that. So if you say 100% completed, where is the evidence?
You want pictures.
That's it, where's the evidence? Minister said there had been videos and pictures that had been loaded as evidence that we can see. You put 100%. You were criticizing NDC for having photo book and there was no evidence. You wrote 100%. Do we take that word from you as evidence? Come on, we have to be serious in this country. For me, I get embarrassed because we have other stakeholders who are looking at it, and the Home Minister of Ghana can stand in front of the world to claim that, so that stakeholders will know what we are doing with their money. So if you're going to take that money from a British government, and it says a classroom block construction, 3 units, and it says 100% completed, you expect the British person to agree that, yes, you have completed it? Where is the evidence? No, sometimes it's disheartening to see these things and then to support government, not to criticize. I tell people that I have no business, praising government. That's why the Minister of Information is there. I am supposed to be critical on behalf of the people. Why should I be praising government? Of course, if they do something good, we can. But it is not my responsibility. My responsibility as an academic is to scope on government and tell the people that, look, you are being taken for granted because the ordinary people cannot face government. And that's why I believe I've been contributed to be educated. All of us, our education was subsidized by people's tax paying. So I owe it to the Ghanaians to be critical of government and to tell them what is happening. How could you pay X amount of money? If it was an undergraduate project, I can tell you, I wouldn't even sanction this.
You won't sanction this?
I wouldn't even, let alone to stand by the country to use Brofo Akese to say it is real time, it is this. I mean, Kojo Nkrumah should know better. He's one of those young people that a lot of people look up to. If he can come to TV to say this, I'm sure he should have vetted it, unless he has no iota of quality.
But, I mean, so admitting that some errors have been committed, obviously, it doesn't take away the
this
fundamental
is serious.
issues
This is
that
serious.
you are raising.
Look at the stakeholders he mentioned, so that our development partners would know what we are doing with their money. Really? With this? When you can't even filter? And one of the quality measures of website, ease of use, all right, usefulness, which American will go to this website and from American embassy will say that. That's why they will look down upon us, because common quality of website we can achieve. And you're talking about delivery, developing a country. If websites, you can't achieve the quality. So we are always being looked down upon. We are always embarrassed as citizens because of what our governments are doing.
So does this at least add another layer of answering the question of accountability? I mean, so as to know where your resources are going to, or as a taxpayer, what your money is being used for?
Oh, definitely, on the face of it, it's an attempt, right? It's an attempt, but we need more time to be able to evaluate how far this goes. But without question, the fact that they've brought it back, and this time at least it's staying, we should say it's an attempt. Except, you see, Honorable Chinia mentioned it, and Professor Mensah also mentioned it. You see, the time the NDC brought out their green book, there were a few errors. The way they were trolled in 2016, fraud. I mean, you open the media, Google, and you see it was all over. For a few, but I never heard 67 mistakes. Honorable, the NDC green book, I didn't hear 67 mistakes. And nobody, they had no number. That number was, yeah, they said non-existent problem, but I didn't hear 67. This is quite colossal. 67 on day 2, or is it even the very day? It's colossal. No. So I accept that we should do everything to bring about more accountability, because if we had more accountability, we would not have such problems. You know the famous 54 billion that has been missing and we are still talking about, right? Yeah, the 54 billion that they said, what do you call it? Auditor General mentioned about 4 years on. The Auditor General still can bring out his report on the missing 54 billion. So if we have things like this...
It's not captured in any of the Auditor General's reports?
Yeah, he came out with a report that he's investigating it, and he'll come out with a report, right? Mr. Michael Flu's case. Yeah. So 4 years on, we still can't find the 54 billion. 54.2 or so billion. So this is a big worry, extremely big. So when I see this attempt to put out information that people should verify, that's good. But perhaps they should have started with the 54 billion, because that's where we think our money is missing, right? You've not answered it and you are answering these other ones. So Kojo Nkrumah, please start with the 54.2 billion that the Auditor General himself mentioned that they can't find, they are still investigating 4 years on. We are playing with that. How much did we go to the IMF for? About 3 billion. Yeah, that 54 billion is not more than the 3 billion we are taking from the IMF.
That's 54 billion CDs.
Yes, CDs. And that's more than the IMF thing. I'm surprised that day in, day out, you still don't see any traction on it. We've been talking about this. Yes, Honorable, yes, don't it? Ask them.
In fact,
Is
you have to know
Micah Flu, let's go to...
This was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, more than 4 years. So all of this. And then number two, they are talking about the tracker. When the most important, another very important initiative we need dealt with is the Code of Conduct for Public Officers. You came into government, you've made so much money, so you don't want to bring out the Code of Conduct for Public Officers, most especially the law that will make sure that you declare your assets and that we can verify in this fashion.
Public declaration.
Yeah, public declaration of the assets, like what used to happen under Rawlings from 1992 until we changed the law in 1998. That is what worries us most. So yes, this performance tracker is an attempt as to how far it goes. As I said, you know, the experts are still evaluating, so we'll give some time. But there should be answers on the code of conduct for public officers because corruption is our biggest problem. Corruption is our biggest problem. People came, they had nothing. Today they have mansions. East Legon buying 4 houses in a row, etc. Yes. Look at the Cecilia Abnada power money. All that. Honorable, your boss. That is what concerns us.
Former boss.
Yes, your former boss. That is what concerns us. Look at the scholarship thing. Michael Oforiatta, a relation of Oforiatta and the president, getting a scholarship. After everything we give Akufo-Addo and Oforiatta, they still take scholarship for their relation. I mean, it's so nauseating. The same Akufo-Addo who said he doesn't want family and friends government, these guys are thieves, etc. You see, so Honorable, that is where our pain is. That people who are next to nothing, today you've come and you've amassed wealth, instead of you to tackle code of conduct for public officers, publish the assets, you are busy giving us performance tracker. How?
You say it is important, but
I rank the code of conduct above it, and I rank the investigations into the
54 billion.
54 billion. That money, look, we have to tackle it.
Has this ever come out at the Public Accounts Committee? The 54 billion CDs we're talking about?
So, yes, Johnson Esedu, the Auditor General, promised to deal with it. Yes, so he brought out his letter, and then that was it. That was December 2020, near the elections. Then he said, oh, yes, he will deal with the matter. 4 years on. So that 54 billion, can you imagine, is it attracting interest wherever it is? Is it attracting? Let's go to the Auditor General's letter. 1st December 2020. He says, Audit Service reports on 52.5 billion cedis. Yeah, the figure, sorry, my apologies. 52.5 billion cedis transferred from GCB to unknown sources. Transferred from GCB to unknown sources. Our attention has been drawn to a publication in social media, blah, 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 on the transfer. Whilst we appreciate the public's interest in this audit, we wish to place on record that the audit in reference is a special audit exercise which was requested by the Honorable Minister for Finance, Ken Oforiatta, in a letter dated 15th August 2020, based on the mandate of the President under Article 187, Clause 8. The request included blah, blah, confirmation. So let's go on. Yes, long story short, we wish to assure the public that as usual, we shall submit the audit report to Parliament when the exercise is completed. December 2020, 52.5 billion. Okay. I'll send you a copy. 52.5 billion since December 2020.
I'll make that copy.
I'm not talking about 52.5 billion. Bigger than the IMF money.
I just want to understand the context. Is it based on speculation? Are they making reference to
Auditor
speculation?
See signature.
But the letter is even saying that
George Swansea
requested
based on a special audit. Based on speculation in the social
So whatever
media.
it is, a report must be generated.
Yeah,
I just want to understand.
And Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Kofi Adams is here. George Swansea, you've not heard 52.5 billion for 4 years. Can you imagine if we calculate interest on this money, transferred from GCB to unknown sources for 4 years, and you are playing with the performance tracker?
Okay, so this is a matter that I'm sure now that both of you, members of the Public Accounts Committee, know this. An issue I'll be on your heels for, at least, just to get some updates if you're going to be asking questions of the Auditor General 4 years on if there's a report available on this matter for us.
And we need interest on the money.
It's important. It's a very important point.
Unknown sources for 4 years. See, unknown sources.
Beyond this erroneous 67 projects that the Information Ministry talks about, these were projects that were not supposed to be on the tracker but were added. But there's also projects that are on the tracker that are misleading, do not reflect the situation or the reality on the ground. We've done some checks. In fact, let's go into that folder, performance tracker videos. Beyond this, we have to go on the ground to check. And then also in areas such as, we were in Kwadaso, for instance, the Kwadaso STEM schools, when they launched the tracker, the STEM schools completed were 5. And those that were under construction were also 5. That's making up 10. Now, there's been an update. I think after the launch, they reviewed some things. When we started talking, the media started going into it and also checking the situation on the ground. The STEM schools that have been completed, now if you go on the tracker, has been reviewed to 4. And then 6 under construction, as against the 5 on the day of the launch. Also, in your constituency, the Bodada Jasikan road
was reported as 100%
on the tracker. Let's put that on the screen, because if you go on it now, there's been they've reviewed it, they've updated it, because when it was launched on that day, the tracker said 100% completed.
Now they say 50%.
Now, if you go on the tracker, it says 50%.
We're making progress.
But even the 50%
so this is the road. This is the
this is Jasikan Township
Road, which they said was
95%
complete.
Down.
This is the Jasikan Township Road, which they said on the tracker, it said 95% complete.
What is the latest on the tracker?
So this is, obviously, does this look like 95% complete? It's a question to our viewers.
The president is saying will be embarrassed when he sees
So
I'm laughing. Something serious that's affecting my people, but I can only laugh.
Of course.
So then there is, no, let's play, just play the video. Play. That's the road, right?
Alfred also show some of the completed ones.
Yes, we will. And then there is also
show the negatives, show the positives too.
There is also the border post construction.
Yeah, the border post,
Border post construction. This is it. The border post on the tracker, they said it was 50% complete. I don't know how they do their measurement, but this is the border post construction of proposed single-story border post checkpoint at Otija Asikan Baglo. This is 50% complete.
Yeah. There's an architectural way.
So they've just dug the foundation.
They've just dug the trenches. Yeah. The foundation has not even been done. Concrete has not been put in the trenches.
So this is it. So anyway.
So where did they get a picture?
Honestly,
I don't know. Somebody says it's even worse in other places.
So this is it. So how can this? I don't know how they do the compute the percentages.
Let's show those what that has been completed.
It's an error. It's this.
So
all these things will be corrected.
That's why you were trolling people for the green book.
50% complete. This border post.
Is that 50%?
50%.
Yes.
That's what they put in.
No, it's an error. I don't think.
So shall we call this one the white book?
It's an error.
It's an error. It will be corrected.
It's tracker 2.0.
2.0. So, but what kind of book is it? Is it green or yellow or pink?
Alfred, also show some of the
then
ones.
There is a...
Because don't let us only look at the negative.
Yeah,
it's a progressive development.
And somebody was
even though there are errors, there are mistakes, we have to accept. But
the cathedral, was it captured on the tracker? The National Cathedral?
Not as far as I know.
You didn't capture your major project, the president's dream.
Show the ones that are completed.
Yes, and then there's another school. They say in Tamale, Action Aid.
Sorry. No, you.
Yes, they say in Tamale, Action Aid built a school And yet it's made
it's part of the
I says Pussy Girl. Okay, not Pussy Girl Girls Model Primary School, which was donated by Action Aid. It's listed on the performance tracker website as an MPP achievement. Look at it.
It's part of the erroneous.
Yes, I'll send it to you.
So it's part of the erroneous.
Yes.
And this was surprisingly, even the pictures they uploaded, they had Action Aid.
Can you imagine?
But they still.
He who the boss want to kill.
They first make mad.
Let me bring you at this point on this matter.
Well, thank you.
Those ones that have been completed.
Yes.
For the.
We'll show the completed ones as well.
Provide
it's important.
Any completed that was captured in the tracker. I didn't see any there. And
there are a few of them that are captured complete.
Coffee be truthful. There are errors. There are errors.
Which one? Those that you captured. Those that you captured.
You're always like that. Why?
I'm saying that those that you captured. Those that you captured. Those that you captured. Let me say
so no
that
project has been completed in the 8 years of MVP in your
it certainly cannot be.
No one.
Coffee.
No. I just want Coffee to be honest with people of Ghana.
There are videos there.
Are you saying not a single project has been completed in your constituency in the last 7 years?
There's a cheap compound that was done in Accra.
Okay.
A cheap compound.
Your hard work in DC that has been
I'm saying that a cheap compound
has
been done in Accra, but that was not captured. So I can't be talking about. I'm talking about what was captured on the tracker. So maybe the chip compound in Accra is one of the projects, the 70 that they now want to add on. But that was completed after June 2023. So I don't know whether it will be part of.
Which one is this? The one we are showing. Sorry, the one on the screen. There is a.
This is a bridge.
The Accra. The Accra and the Accra Porters Bridge.
Accra Bridge.
This bridge on the tracker was captured as 100% complete.
Yeah.
That's the bridge.
If it rains now, nobody will be able to pass through. And the terrible part, you see, this presentation speech by the minister, for me, is the basis of a lot of worry. If they had just gone and launched something and say, oh, we have collected this, we are making it available to the public, check and prove us wrong or right. Would have realized that, okay, they created some room of doubt, that they were just taking pictures and uploading. He preluded the launch with a statement that these are verifiable and validated projects, more than 13,000. So,
that was not pageantry.
Indicating that anything,
yes, let's.
Anything they have placed on the tracker has been verified and has been validated. Indeed, the Deputy Minister for Information and Information Minister designate now added that they also have geolocation. And that when you go onto the tracker and you click a project, it will take you to the location. That has been very clearly demonstrated here, that when you click on the location icon, it doesn't take you anywhere. You remain on the page there. So that is also another misleading presentation. And I agree when people say that governance is supposed to be continuum, and so therefore it should not really have mattered. But here you are also, he prelude to the launch statement is that they are focusing on projects from 2017 to June 2023. So anything they have placed on the tracker, they are telling you are projects that commenced in 2017 and concluded by June 2023. Now you go onto the tracker and you begin to see a lot of projects either that commenced before the 2017 but not yet completed though, or have been completed before the 2017. And that calls for what? Worry. Everybody knows, for example, the Dodoa District Hospital was commissioned, was completed, but was captured under the tracker. And we are not talking only of projects. We are also talking about numbers in relation to other performance criteria. Take an area of what? Job provision, general job provision. In the 2024 budget, which was presented before us, and the numbers given there was that private sector generated 900,000 jobs, and the public sector generated 1.4 million jobs. This budget was presented in November of what? 2023. So at least the budget was presented long after the termination date of the tracker, which is June 2023, if we are to accept what the Minister for Works and Housing, former Information Minister, presented. Then Dr. Bawumia, in his lecture at the UPSC, raised the number from 900,000 to 970,000 for private sector, and that of the public sector now drops to 1.2 million. The budget came in November. Dr. Bawumia's presentation at UPSA came after the budget presentation. But the public sector jobs, which was reported in the budget as 1.4 million, in Dr. Bawumia's situation had dropped to 1.2 million. But the private sector had increased. Then performance tracker now reports 267,933 as private sector jobs and 1.8 million as public sector job. This 1.8 million, let me accept Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah's statement that it was up till June 2023. Then how come they have 1.8 million and many months after, the numbers are reducing to 1.2? There could be two reasons. One, government itself have supervised and degenerated the job creation opportunities, and people, many more persons have lost jobs. And so they have confirmed that statement they've been running away from, that there have been more job losses under the NPP administration than we ever had. That even they themselves, the numbers they inherited, they have seen to the degeneration of employment opportunities in the public sector. That if at June 2023, we had 1.8 million persons, and the private sector had only 267. And by 2024, the public sector had dropped to 1.2 million, and private sector have done better. It means government has worked to get people losing their jobs. And this goes to confirm the World Bank report that over 850,000 persons have been brought under the poverty line as a result of mismanagement of this government. And of course, we are also aware that unemployment rates actually have continued to increase, though, from 8% or 8.4% to be specific in 2016 to 14.7% as we speak now. And how you can present this as a good performance, only God knows. But of course, it didn't end there. Again, another lie that was also packaged and presented as performance is that if you look at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, their performance-based budget that was presented in 2017, they indicated clearly that 19.2 million was realized as revenue from passport issuance. But the tracker that they launched tried to reduce this amount that have already been captured in the performance budget of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration to 1.1 million in order to create a certain performance of their deceptive digitalization program. They credited that as of 2021, they made 56.7 million from passport issuance, forgetting that the 2022 budget, which was presented, and Chinya and myself were there, we were recipients, we listened, we were given copies. He still has a copy. That budget, the 2022 budget that was presented, which would have captured the 2021 figures appropriately, indicates that the accruals from revenue in terms of passport issuance is 37 million. So who is actually telling us the truth? Clearly, the tracker is a pack of what? Lies. To deceive people, just like they did the delivery tracker in an election year of 2020, which was exposed so badly. And you go to many constituencies till now. Some of the projects that were listed as complete in that delivery tracker of 2020 are still standing incomplete, but they were delivered in the delivery tracker as complete, as projects that have been executed. And persons could have voted based on such deception. But you see, the truth is that you have shown some roads in my constituency and the border post. You know, Atebubu Kwame Danso is another major road. I passed on it quite recently. I went for a training program in Techima, and from there I routed through that and boarded the ferry to Karachi and crossed again with the ferry to Dambai because I was going to my constituency. That road have been abandoned since 2017. It was a project initiated under the John Dramani Mahama administration and has been abandoned since 2017. They captured it in their tracker, that 100% complete. How can you be this heartless and careless? You haven't done the project.
Kwame Danso. You haven't done the roads. Let's go to the roads.
You haven't done it.
The roads
then you
section.
Put in there that you have done it 100%. At least even say that maybe you are coming back to consider it. My other colleague for Sola Tuna Kalba also reported about a road from Sola to
we're looking for the Atebu Kwame Danso road.
Konkrompe. That they reported that that road in the Sola Tuna Kalba constituency have also been completed 100%. But huge, not potholes, manholes on the road. Manholes on the road that they report that is 100% complete. Then you go to schools. The school I attended, Bishop Hema College. We have a giant block there we called Is House 1, St. Augustine.
Right.
That project again was awarded under the NDC administration in 2016. They came and they have abandoned the project. Nothing has happened as far as the contract that was awarded through GET Fund is concerned. Recently, the PTA, they say we shouldn't even call it PTA, that we should take the T out. It's PA. The Parent Association decides to work on the building. That have also been reported, that 100% complete by government. How can you do this? It's not like even the project was not awarded. It was awarded, but you stopped it. And now you come to report in your tracker that St. Augustine's House 1 has been completed. Of course, a lawyer mentioned that of Pusiga, a project executed by Action Aid and handed over recently. Then you capture it as your project. If within such a short time, all these things have been exposed, then you can imagine when you take your time. You know, we have some persons who are not friendly. So they may not have been able to go on the site to be able to check. It will take some time to get someone to take them through all that. Those of us who are friendly could do it, and because we are grounds persons, we will see straight away that this is not there, that is not there. Even for the ECG, do you know that Dr. Baumia in his lecture reported that the revenue jump from ECG is about 166%, but at least the tracker says 25%. So which of these two is telling us the truth? So, Genia, this time around, what the delivery tracker sought to do, and it did to some extent in 2020, will not happen in 2024 because we will badly expose them. And I have encouraged, the media is doing, civil society is doing, but I want to encourage me as a party person. I'm encouraging even party candidates in various constituencies to take interest in this. Download, print, and go to communities where they have declared your project as 100% complete or 50% complete, and read to the community the deception from government. But another angle that frightened me was what happened at the Public Accounts Committee. And Honorable Chinye, when it comes to the Auditor General's report on consolidated statements of foreign exchange receipts and payments, it's not like the other audit reports where maybe it is some documentation that is unavailable or this. This is the receipts when we sold our cocoa, our gold, our monies we borrowed, and so on and so forth, the interest in our foreign investment, all what we got, and our payments for either international contracts and other imports like crude and those things that we do. That is what is captured in this report. And it's supposed to be done every 6 months. So we have June report and end of year, which will capture what has been captured up to June and end of year. If you look at that report, where, like I said earlier, in this report, 2 contractors have been paid for no work done. Is it the case that for some of the projects that have been captured as 100% complete, some payments have been done to these contractors, and that is the reason why they are trying to report in the tracker that 100% done? That investigation I haven't done. But it's very possible, considering what it is that we are seeing in this report for payment for no work done. And so people should check, make information available, and we will do further checks to see payments to contractors or in the name of the contractors that are executing such projects, whether some monies have been spent indicating a percentage completion when that is not the case. So it's another angle that, for me, I think that we have to be looking at. I'm a member of the Defense and Interior Committee. I know a number of defense projects that are being executed. Some were done under the NDC administration, long before the 2017 date that the MPP took over. But I saw some of those projects, like the Eastern Naval Command housing units, being reported as an achievement between 2017 and June 2023. That cannot be the case. That cannot be the case, because these projects happened before then. Some of them started, but they were completed during that period. So you cannot capture all those projects as projects that you executed between 2017 and June 2023. So for me, the tracker is a deception. It's loaded in there with projects that either don't exist, or projects they indicate the percentage completion that is inappropriate, or projects that were not their projects, but then they have laden them as their projects. And in that deception is something that is even yet to happen. And I have not checked whether that has also been captured in their tracker. You know, the Ameri plant that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama brought into this country between 2013 and 2015, when we encountered the difficulties in energy and the position of the MPP on that issue. A plant that was on BOOT arrangement, and now we have full ownership of it. Wonderful arrangement, but they critique it. Today, they have picked 6 units. You see, each unit gives us about 25 megawatts or 25 megawatts. So the 10 units was to give is giving us 250. They've picked 6 and relocated it to Kumasi and given it a new name.
What is the new name?
The Kumasi One Thermal something project. Ameri is completely missing in there.
K1 TPP.
Exactly.
And there's going to be a commissioning on the 17th of April.
Exactly. And then again, the remaining 4 units have been added to T3. So they have critiqued Ameri. They want the critique to stay in there, and they are changing the name and relaunching it as if it's their project. You played no role in bringing Ameri to Ghana. You have added zero to energy generation. What you have supervised is your failure to pay for fuel, your mismanagement, and therefore you have subjected us to doomsday, which you are refusing to even give us a timetable. And this is what they are involved in. And that is what you find in the delivery tracker that they've just launched. But I don't want Ghanaians. Ghanaians, please. Your best performance tracker is in your pocket. When you step out there to buy cement, when you step out there, you drive to buy fuel. When you are a driver and you are buying spare parts, When you are a mother and you have to go to the market to buy food to feed your persons, you know how much it costs you. You know how much various things have become. That is your best performance tracker.
Okay.
That is what you must use to judge this government. That is what you must use to go into the 2024 elections, and not what has been placed in there.
To deliver.
Why? Is it your worry?
Alfred,
and so for me,
Alfred, I have some few comments.
Very quick.
Yes. The first one is Prof made a very important point that I think that government has to take a look at it. I mean, he raises question of user-friendly of the tracker. That I think that as a government we need to take a look at it, because some of these projects are for posterity. And when you get it wrong and people make input, you take on board the input, because if you have a performance tracker that people cannot access, then it doesn't actually serve the purpose. And so it has to be user-friendly. And so I will urge that we take a look at it. This is a positive criticism. The second one is, lawyer also made a very important point that this is just the beginning. Something has been initiated. It will certainly have high point and low point. Let's monitor it for some time. Let's address the negatives that comes with it and strengthen the positives. And at the end of the day, it's going to be something that will serve a good purpose for the whole country. It cannot be a bad project as Kofi is trying to make it appear. It's not a bad project. Despite the shortfalls of it, I think we can make it better. And that is where the focus should be. I am not detracted by his zero positive comment about the tracker. I mean, at the end of the day, the tracker is here for Ghana. Let's address the shortfalls of the tracker and make it better.
Now, you don't know how much it cost us.
No, I don't know. Now, Kofi makes the point as though there has not been a single project from 2017 to this time that has been done in his constituency. I believe Kofi has been.
Is that my duty? I'm here to analyze what you put on the track.
His chief, your chief,
there's a project completed that you didn't add.
Look,
but didn't I give you
your
one
chief,
project?
your chief.
I give you a
Kofi, you hold on. Your chief in 2020. You want me to read? Your chief in 2020.
Which chief?
Praise Jessica chief.
Which chief?
Jessica chief.
We didn't have a chief.
In 2020, he praised.
What's the name of the chief?
What's the name of the chief?
Let me get it.
What's the name of the chief?
He praised President Akufo-Addo.
I'm saying, what's the name of the chief?
Oh, hold on. Why are you? What does it? I mean,
where are you reading from?
The Jessica chief was installed only in 2022.
Well, probably somebody. This Nana Osei-Boachi, the first.
Oh, Nana Boachi.
Yes.
Is he the chief of
Jessica?
No, he's not the chief of Jessica.
Yes, but
he's one of the a sub chief.
So as at 2020, you don't have. So he was speaking on behalf of and he praised the president for unprecedented roles that were being done in the constituency.
Well, they praised them exactly. You see, in 2020.
Let me help you.
Let me help him.
Hold on.
Let me help you.
I don't need help. I don't need help.
In 2020,
I don't need help.
They came and cut sword for Jessica town roads.
Kofi.
And dug, no, the one they said 95%, and dug all those trenches and have abandoned the place. So if you have done such a thing in 2020 and you visit the town, of course the chief will be happy that you were doing something. Unfortunately, you abandoned the town.
He mentioned four different roles.
You left it. And I'm saying that all have been abandoned.
You see, the point I'm trying
to make... to Bodada, abandoned.
Wait. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is that it cannot be the case that in the last 7 years, no single project has been completed in your constituency.
The people.
Now, Alfred, what I also think is that, I have 2 points to make. What I also think is that, I mean, TV3, you would have done us a good service. I don't have any qualms with you exposing the weaknesses in the tracker. But it is also important because as a television station, you are to educate, entertain, and inform. The screen right now. Because you should also show positive projects that have been recorded on the tracker. Hold on. Because you have over 10,000 projects that have been put on the tracker. You can't even show one positive project. Hold on. That is not fair to government.
Okay,
so it's not fair.
You
have to be fair.
You have stated
you show the low points. Also show some of the high points so that people can appreciate both sides. Now, my last point. Kofi.
I thought you were saying something. So we're going to show.
Yeah, you have to do. But my last point. Kofi has thrown a challenge, and for me, where I sit, that challenge should be accepted by both NDC and MPP.
Okay.
That in our constituencies, parliamentary candidates and leadership of the parties should look at the projects in your specific constituencies and let's have a challenge. I am confident that at the end of the day, the positives in this tracker would far outweigh the negatives.
Okay.
In my constituency, I know the projects that have been put there. I can defend them, I can support them, and I can speak to the issues in my constituency, and that can be reflected in all constituencies. So, Kofi, as for that challenge, we are ready for it. We are ready for you.
If your constituency
so
they spoke the truth, fine. Yes. But there are many other things that
your people have started punching. Yesterday, I saw they punch this on a particular 1D1F project. But it can be defended.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I have not been.
We're back after this quick break, and I'll show you a video after this quick break, and then we'll get into our next conversation. We'll talk about some of the projects that have been completed. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
With your last cash left for the month, you decide to get a chicken bucket for the family. So you hop in your car and pay for the petrol to get to the drive-thru. Then you pay for the food. But 20 minutes later, that precious bucket of chicken is now a bucket of bones. Or you pay once right on your phone with the MyGoTV app to keep the whole family smiling for an entire month. For unbeatable value for money entertainment,
oh, I love this.
There's only one way to go. GoTV. Love it.
The news never stops. If it's not breaking, developing, the news lends itself to significant analysis, broad context through explainers, and the features that give stories more life. That's what we offer on Weekend Central. News, features, analysis, the full package. Weekend Central, Saturdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
They are coming from all over the country and even beyond. They are coming to take their place at the table of champions. It is not just a race, it is a movement. 3FM presents Tour du Ghana 2024, the ultimate cycling event, a tour of sheer endurance, grit, power, and perseverance. So seasoned riders, professionals, and leisure riders, mark your calendars for April 27th, 2024. 3FM Tour du Ghana is back with a thrill. This year, Start Point is a media general premises countdown to the scenic Imprieso town in the Eastern region. Join us in a fight against climate change, one pedal at a time. To confirm participation, register at a fee of 150 Ghana cedis for single riders, 100 Ghana cedis for each rider in a group of 10. Your registration comes with personal accident cover, feeding, and transportation. So grab your helmet, saddle up, and join us on the 27th of April for the 3FM Tour du Ghana's Sustainable Ride for Climate Change. For more details, contact 053 2200 and 053 1100 Let's pedal together for a greener and brighter future. 3FM Tour du Ghana. Be part of a thrilling adventure for change. Proudly supported by DHL.
We called, you came through, we searched, and we selected the finest talent for this year's Talented Kids Inter-School Competition.
The earth was vibrant and majestic sun.
Our rivers die of no infiltration. This season guarantees compelling twists with the inventive STEM child and inter-school competition, ensuring intrigue and jaw-dropping moments. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. right here with our carefully selected contestants who wow you and captivate you with their best talents, providing an unforgettable experience. Talented Kids, free to play!
Talented Kids shows on TV3 Sunday at 4 p.m.
Powered by Indomie. Sponsored by Coco Plus.
Deluxy Acrylic Paint.
Frutelli Calipo.
Vitamilk.
Pepsodent Cavity Fighter. CTIW Foundation.
And supported by
educated, talented, she knows her worth. She's cultural, a woman of substance. And when she walks, the world will stop and stare. She's a woman. She's beautiful, so strong. She is courageous and fearless. She knows her worth. She's graceful, a woman of substance. And when she walks, the world will stop and stare. She's a woman.
So much joy, love and inspiration with Sika, Helen and Regina on the Ladies Circle. This and every Saturday at 6 p.m.
The Ladies Circle shows Saturdays at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Yaz Sanitary Pad,
Onga, Yumvita,
MTN, Cowbell, Our Milk.
To Key Point on TV3. We're also live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and DSTV channel 279 all across the world on 3news.com. So, Honorable Amadou Zaku Chinia is with us, a Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, and then also Professor Kobi Mensah still here with us. Martin Pebu, private legal practitioner, and then also Kofi Adams, Member of Parliament for the Boem constituency. Both MPs here are members of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. And there's one issue that has just come to our attention, which I'm just going to seek your thoughts on very quickly. But this is one of the projects that we had checked that had been done. And so you take a look at this video, because we can only put out what we have checked. This is, yes, this is the Asim Fosu, Asim Praso road. Okay, and this was reported, so we have videos to show. And what was also captured, those ones that we show that have not been done, it is for your attention.
Yes.
So that if you capture something that is 100% complete and realize it's even nowhere close to 20%, it's for you to check and go and find out. But this is the Asim Praso, Asim Fosu road. Yes. And that one, if you drive on it, you will know, you will see. So, yes. Thank you. So, are you we'll tick the box for you.
Yes. Well, but,
okay.
But even for that one, the truth of the matter is that the funding for that project is the Japanese grant facility, which was suspended when we declared EPIC. It was under the NDC administration when His Excellency first visit was by Professor Mills, and then subsequently John Dramani Mahama as president continued and got the Japanese grant facility back to Ghana.
Right.
And it is that facility that is paying for the Tema motorway extension project, and also paying for the Asen Fosu to the Asen Praso road project and some other road projects.
Right.
So even the funding source is not an arrangement that was done by this government. But it is true that the project has been done. It was commissioned during the by-election. They actually commissioned that project when we were having the Asen of by-election. That was when they commissioned the project. So it is true, a clinic was added as part of the project, but the funding source is Japanese grant. A grant that existed and was stopped and was brought back through the negotiations of the NDC leadership under Professor Milson.
Let me just get a few messages.
One credit for everything. This road was done by the MPP government.
This one here from Theophilus, who is an IT expert, says, good morning, Alfred and your panelists. So couldn't the committee that put this performance tracker together, done validation and verification before launching it. I see this to just blindfold citizens. They should stop these games. It is not funny anymore. Secondly, as much as this government is not doing well, if you remember when the previous government in 2016 took about 3 months to elections, signed too many construction contracts, which to me were also needless, knowing that they can't do much about it. So I partly don't agree, it says, with Kofi Adams if they say what they started couldn't be completed. And this one here says, this is from Prince. It says, good morning. Micah Flo had indicated that he petitioned the Speaker of Parliament through the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa on this 52.5 billion Ghana cedis monies that have still not been traced, you say. So the Speaker of Parliament has been petitioned. That's the updates that I get on this matter. This one here says that the Eastern Naval Command Housing Unit, the Biakro Barracks at Tema, was a project that was completed under the John Mahama administration but has been added to their tracker. Maybe it's part of the 67 that they say is a erroneous project. This one here says that, good morning, Alfred and team. The wrong data in the tracker is real. During the launch, Kojo Pokoma called up more than 30 persons at the back and praised them for sleepless nights in trying to produce the robust performance tracker. Indeed, these persons should also be answering questions as to the cost of this tracker. As Professor Kobi Mensah had indicated, we must all know how much it costs for the same accountability objective that this tracker seeks to answer. Is that a fair point? Okay. This one here says, the Honorable Chianaya, as Deputy Upper West Minister, said also performed in some areas that he should have also been able to point to projects during his tenure. Why limit it to just the Ministry of Sanitation? Well, this is his current portfolio. That's why he was talking in that regard. Anyway, thank you for the messages. There are quite a lot of them.
Mr. Ocansey?
Yes.
Some people are asking, Honorable, they say the Wa Tumu Road and Navrungu Tumu roads, have they been done?
No.
Your constituency, Tumu,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
It hasn't
so
been
which
done.
projects have been done?
Contractors are on it.
Which projects have been done?
I mean, there was...
Are all projects on the tracker in your constituency done?
Let me...
No, are all projects on the tracker in your constituency? Are they done?
No,
he must answer this.
I'm not discussing my
Are all projects on the tracker in your constituency done?
Lawyer,
There was fair to your constituents. Every project listed on the tracker in your constituency done?
Yesterday I saw...
You are a minister.
I'm talking about my constituency. I'm trying to point to. So far, a project has been pointed, and just right now, an NDC man sent me a message about one of the projects. I saw they challenging a project that was captured as 1D1F. I know that it was privately established by someone. I'm coming. But sometimes we need to also... Yesterday, I spoke to one of the media guys and asked them to talk to the guy. Because as far as I know, when the project was initiated, the president himself said he had interest in the maize factory in the area and asked me to get the owner to come and see how they can partner and they'll support him. He didn't come. The president was in Upper West and Asansu then was the deputy chief of staff. He called me and asked if I could get the guy to come.
And the president didn't
I called
come,
the guy. He said he was in Accra. And so he couldn't come. At that point, he wasn't interested. But somewhere 2021, he approached me and said he has written to 1D1F looking for support. I think at that time, the facility had challenges.
So you didn't
now,
give him?
No, I'm coming. I approached Asenso and he spoke to the 1D1F.
So
and that is the
as I indicated, this is an ongoing exercise.
Yes.
And all of us here, and I know Professor Kobi Mensah has been very consistent on this matter since it was launched. And we're not stopping. Let me acknowledge the about 1,500 messages that we have on Facebook as well. I thank you all for those messages. I've tried to read a few of them as well, but thank you. Even if I'm not able to get through to your messages, thank you for sending them. Really appreciate it. There's some information from the presidency on the SNIT matter. A number of people have drawn their attention, since you are members of the Public Accounts Committee, the happenings at SNIT in which they say you must take interest in. There's a statement that's come through from the presidency regarding the Director General of SNIT, who was relieved of his position this week. Take a look at this. There were some media reports about some financial malfeasance and misconduct and so on. According to this release that came through minutes ago, contrary to some speculations in the media, the Office of Special, that's the Office of the President, beg pardon, would like to place on record that the exit of Dr. John Ofori-Tinkrang from the position of Director General of SNIT had nothing to do with any form of misconduct or malfeasance on his part. Indeed, it goes on and on, satisfy the performance criteria as Director General of SNIT in the past 7 years. As an institution under his watch, witnessed some impressive transformation. But then he has been fired, and there hasn't been any information given as to why that decision was taken. Obviously, the prerogative of the president not to explain why this has happened. But what's interesting as well is that as we speak today, the Deputy Director General at SNIT, his name has been given as Michael Addo, has also resigned. And you know that after the decision to fire Dr. Tinkrang, it is the son of the senior advisor to the president, that is Yaosaf Mafo's son, who has been now named as a replacement of Dr. John Ofori-Tinkrang. That also generated some conversation as well. But this is one that's just coming through now to address the reports in the media about what is happening at SNIT. They say the Public Accounts Committee should take interest in this matter. Dr. Tinkrang appeared before you, right?
Well, he appeared before us based on the audit findings. But you see, it is the Employment and Labor Relations Committee that have the oversight rights to deal with what? The SNIT. So for the operational activities, the day-to-day activities of SNIT, if there are issues that has to be probed, then it is the Employment and Labor Relations Committee. They have responsibility because the Minister for Employment have responsibility over SNIT. And so in terms of their budgetary approvals, in terms of their everything, it is that committee that deals with them. Public Accounts Committee deals with every public agency once you are spending public money. And once the Auditor General audits you and submit a report, then we will invite you to come and answer to the audit findings. So we are not limited to an agency that we deal with, but we take advantage of public interest questions to go into areas
operations of the institution.
The operations of the institution. So in a matter such as this, then it is the Employment and Labor Relations Committee that, and then state, I think state interest and something agency
but
committee.
It is actually that question to the Public Accounts Committee about the operations of SNIT.
That's what I'm saying. That
raised about for certain investment, and this is the termination letter.
For Public Accounts Committee, it is what the Auditor General has reported on that we worked on. But in a matter like this other committee can go into it. They can invite and ask for documentation, but if the Auditor General has not prepared the report, we cannot on our own just invite SNIT to come and appear before us. But just to add, Honorable Chinie, there's a project in your constituency, the maternity center constructed in Kasana, that was done in 2014-2015. That has been captured in the tracker. Is it true that it was done in 2014-2015, the Kasana maternity project? Is it true? answer specifically to that, then we'll continue. If it's true, but you said everything in the tracker is right. No, I'm not. I'm asking you. Because your people are watching from the constituency.
I know they're watching.
So speak the truth to it.
This program has been carried live on my
so speak to it.
It's been transmitted live on
radio. So speak to it.
What's the name of the radio station?
Sisala Radio.
Sisala Radio.
96.3.
We are live on.
So we are live on Sisala Radio.
Did you see? No, but so answer that the Kasana maternity project.
I mean, the construction preceded 2017.
So why would it be captured in the delivery tracker as 2017 to 2023?
As I indicated,
it would have been okay.
Indeed, as I indicated, yes.
You see, Kofi, the point I keep making is that as for these errors, I don't have difficulty.
Well, I'm saying the statement by
at the end of the day,
this is it. From this to that you are accounting for. Your money that we've given you.
The speech was too ebullient. Yes. It was just too ebullient, and that's what we are harvesting now. But Mr. Ocansey, I hear Busumpe has been sacked, the controller and accountant general. And said the one who, if those is in office as controller, he went to stand for elections and expected to keep the office.
Okay.
So at least Ekufado is done well, but next time it should be very sweet. It took how many months on? It took too long. Too slow, like a tortoise.
You're so live here on Key Point, also on 3FM 92.7.
Should have sacked him immediately.
Facebook, also on Kesme, and then also W93.5 as well, in Tamale and then also in Wa, and then Sisala Radio we understand as well. This is in Tumu. Okay, the anti-LGBTQ plus bill is taking different shapes and forms in terms of the perspectives to it. After a long period of silence, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has broken his silence on this matter, stated quite clearly and emphatically that his religion does not allow him, in fact, to even endorse this. So on the path of religion, he stands against LGBTQ activities. Take a look.
First of all, it is important to note that our cultural and societal norms and values as Ghanaians frown on the practice of homosexuality. Furthermore, as a Muslim, my view on this matter aligns with the position of my religious faith. The Holy Quran is replete with verses frowning on LGBTQ acts, including same-sex marriages. My faith is, therefore, very strictly against the practice of homosexuality. Allahu Akbar. No ifs or buts, no shades of grey. Therefore, I personally cannot support that which my religion, and indeed all major religions in Ghana, as well as our societal norms and values, clearly and unequivocally forbid.
So that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. So he stuck to the religion aspect of this conversation. But you see, the anti-LGBTQ plus conversation has not only the religion aspect, you have the political, also social, even financial or economic, and then the legal, as we have seen play out. For the likes of Adam Senanu, for instance, they are expecting that Dr. Bawumia would have gone beyond just the religion to also touch on the bill as well. Was it one that, Professor Mensa, you were also having that expectation to add another layer of...
Yeah. See, when it comes to political decisions, all right, most cases, even let me expand it, leadership. Most cases, the currency is not in the face value of the statement that you make, but the other things like speed, all right, like your courage, all right, to talk about the issue. And I'll give you an example. I don't think that any Ghanaian, knowing that Vice President Dr. Bawumia being a Muslim, expected him to support LGBTQ. Fair, because Muslims will know their stand on LGBT. And it's a value every Ghanaian, I'm sure, once you're of age, 18 years, you know that there's certain values for the Muslim faith. And the same as Christian. Even most especially for Muslims, because I always say that even in Christianity, there's a lot of people have loosened. That's why some of these pastors can do a lot of things and we still think that it's normal, because we have loosened the value set of Christianity. We have gone too extreme that so many liberal positions, liberal stands, so pastors are committing serious stuff and they are saying they are human beings, right? But for Muslims, with all due respect, they hold values and principles, especially family values, so dear. So I don't think that any Ghanaian thought that Dr. Bawumia, even when he was silent, all right, would have any iota of entertainment for LGBTQ. And so the currency is about when he was to speak, all right? When the issue was raging, when people were discussing it, when he had caught international attention, that is the currency for him, to have come and stated unequivocally his stance. It's not like people don't have expectations, they know, but we want to hear from your mouth to say it. You know why? Because then the international community is clear about the leadership of this country and their stance on what? LGBTQ. That's what he lost. He lost that opportunity. And I'll give you an example. In the US and in the UK, I mean, I did political marketing as my PhD, so I followed these conversations over. 2008, Clinton, when he was competing with Obama, did an ad and says that at 2 a.m. when your generals are not around and they say, Mr. President, America is on fire, your generals are not around, what would be your decision? Judgment is actually, looked at as one of the serious, resources of leadership, your judgment. And so your judgment as to when to say what, especially when everybody, Ghanaians, were speaking about this issue because it's gone to parliament and there were so many voices about it. There were religious leaders talking about it. There were civil society talking about it. Citizens are engaged in. You remain silent until when the issue, so to speak, the currency of the issue had died down. And you state your position in the midst of celebrations. I mean, you're a journalist, so you can understand. You've buried it. And I'm sure that quite a lot of people had gone without knowing Bawumia's position. So for me, the interpretation is that when you are faced with Putin in the East, an American president in the West, having two different positions, are you able to take a position beneficial to Ghana? You may not be able to, because Putin's ego is like Mountain Kilimanjaro, all right? American president is not going to toy with any fluffiness. Look at what is happening in Gaza and Israel, all right? What will be your level of judgment? What will be your response?
So timing is of the essence.
Absolutely of the essence. And courage. Because you see, Richard Branson is on the president. Have you heard his statement?
Yes.
The world leaders who are telling the president that don't sign. But that's when Bawumia's voice was missing. So for me, I ask myself, if you become president of this country and we are having geopolitical conversations like South Africa took in terms of Israel and Gaza, would we have a leader who is bold enough to watch, as President Atamils did, to say, over my dead body? Would we have a president that could have that level of courage to tell the West that, like Nkrumah said, we are facing neither West or East? Do you get my point? So what he did is not just about having stated, there are more, or there's a lot more behind. And so that's why, and sorry if I say that, I was thinking that Mahama was bold. Because you are facing the West, you are facing Richard Branson, but you want a position, you want to be the president of this country. And these people, they hold a lot of force, they hold a lot of influence. Do you get it? So for your position leader to be unequivocal, seeking to become president of this country, knowing that there are heavyweights globally opposing these things, and for him to come and say, the thing is clear to me, I am this, I am that. But Bawumia lost the opportunity. We expected that he would not support and he would support the bill. But he didn't have the courage at the time to speak his mind and say, I'm for this. He lost the moment. So it's too late.
It's just timing is of the essence. I mean, within this period when the issues peaked, I mean, Dr. Bawumia's silence from the analysis of Professor Kobi-Mensah did not help. And it wouldn't even help him even going forward. Even the platform he chose to say this is also not adding any level of expansiveness to that statement that he made.
I mean, for me, the most important thing is for Dr. Bawumia, as the flag bearer of the NPP, to state his position on this matter. That is the most fundamental thing that ought to be done. And I am a bit surprised about Prof's assertion that Mahama has been bold on this matter. Sometimes we also need to look at people's position and when they speak. You know, this matter, this is not the first time it has been a national and topical issue. It was topical when Mahama was vice president. It came up. It came up when he was president. Tell me within that period whether Mahama was able to, on one occasion, made that statement that he has made as opposition leader.
He did.
Never.
He did.
He has never.
Well, Kofi Adams would tell you.
I mean, there was an interview, is it Yale, where Mahama granted an interview and was talking about the rise of people, LGBTQ people. Yeah. He was talking about their rise. Yeah. But he did not make any statement to the effect that he condemns the practice at the time. He was only talking about their rights and even appealing to Ghanaians to let us accept them so that they will come out boldly. When he became president, and this guy, what is his name? Oh, it has escaped me. I mean, this gay rights person who Solomon. When Mahama was accused of having a relationship with her, he made a statement that somehow undermined President Mahama's presidency. Did Mahama make any public statement to distance himself from that statement? No. It was his information minister, Mahama Yaraga then, who spoke to the matter and later had to apologize to the man on certain issues that he actually made. But President Mahama at that time, as president of Ghana, did not make any statement. So today, he is opposition leader. He is desperate for power. And, I mean, he is not facing, the world authority as you have spoken about. Because as a member of a party that is in opposition, you have no official exchanges and engagement with other countries and other bodies across the globe. When he had that opportunity, if he was a bold man, that is the time he should have, stick his neck out. But he couldn't. Bawumia today is vice president. And as vice president, he has made his position clear that he's against it today and he will be against it if he's president. That is the difference. So I don't see but the most important thing, Alfred,
the timing of it. That's a question that I asked, really.
I don't see issues with the timing. I mean, the timing and the platform was appropriate. Okay. I mean, as a leader, you need a certain platform to make your views known.
Right.
On the other hand, you have never heard Bawumia promoting LGBTQ matters. Have you heard that before? Okay. He has not.
So you can't draw the conclusion that he has been in support of that business from day one or before.
But I don't think any Ghanaian would expect him to.
So let's just accept that the two big parties and the people who lead them have spoken and their positions are clear. That given the opportunity, this is not something they will support. Now there is this matter of people trying to suggest that because Bawumia has stated his position, then he should let President Akufo-Addo sign the bill into law. You see, I am a student of law. I'm still learning from, like I said earlier, I learn a lot from Lawyer Matic. You see, and I have a major problem with our constitutional arrangement. Until we are able to tackle some of those things, the independence of individuals within the government is so limited. The executive powers in the hands of the president are so much that all other officials are not very functional as they should be. So sometimes you may blame or accuse people, but I mean the laws do not support the accusations you are making against them.
I think that the demand here is that after this statement, is he going to advise the president in that same manner to say, look, I am against this, so based on that, I am still your vice president. I am still serving as vice president. This is my position on this matter. So, Mr. President, I'm advising you to assent to the bill.
Alfred,
is that too much to ask?
I have no doubt in my mind that there are a lot of policies that our government has implemented that Bawumia has disagreed with the government. But you see, in a democracy, it's majority rule. When you go into a meeting, we have 5 on this table. If there is a decision we have to make on this table, and Kofi Adams is our leader, at the end of the day, if 3 of us take a position, that becomes the position of the group, and we work with it. It is not for me who disagree with them to go out and tell people that, oh, when we're taking this decision, I didn't agree with it. That will also make you an undemocratic person. Because once you take a decision and the majority takes a direction, you are part of the decision. Nobody can say that 2 individuals can ever be the same. I sometimes get surprised, even high-level people saying that, oh, Bawumia will be controlled. If he becomes president, he's Akufo-Addo. I mean, do people know the authority of presidency? Do people appreciate the constitution of Ghana?
So you know
that when you are president, me sitting here, I'm a small boy, but if you make me the president of Ghana and I have the ultimate power, you think anybody can just control me and push me around? So I am saying that Bawumia has a role in advising the president, but it does not mean that the president will take every advice the vice president gives him. But it does not behove on the vice president to also come out and say, I advise the president on this matter, and he accepted or he didn't accept it. At the end of the day, the bar stops with the president. And so let's be fair to Dr. Bawumia in matters of signing the bill.
On this issue,
he cannot take a decision. And you know that, and all of us know that. By our constitutional arrangement, the vice president doesn't decide whether a bill is signed into law or not by the president. You can play your part by way of advice. But the final decision to sign it or not is in the hands of the president.
Well, you know him better than all of us. Is he going to advise the president, based on this statement he has made, to assent to the bill? Based on what you know?
Alfred, I even generally think that the president himself, I don't think supports activities of gays and lesbians and all those unnatural and inhuman activities. I believe that the sense I get from the argument is some aspects of the law and disagreement on aspects of the law. That is the sense I get. Because already in Ghana, our laws fronts on, unnatural carnal knowledge. The criminal code, fronts on unnatural carnal knowledge. This bill is just to expand the frontiers of these activities. It's just an expansion of an existing law. But in expanding the law, because of human rights issues, there are people who also disagree with some of the aspects of the bill. I don't think there was any MP member of parliament who came out to say that he didn't support the bill. Was there anybody?
No.
As far as I'm aware, I don't know how I can, me sitting here, I can say that I support LGBTQ activities and go to my constituency. And from where I sit and my love for, I mean, what will attract me to a man?
Your love.
I wanted to say something, but if I'm not careful and I say it, my wife can fire me. You see? I mean, I don't know what will attract me to a man. I see it as illness. When a man is attracted to a man or a woman is attracted, I mean, it means that there is something wrong with your brains. There is something wrong with your mind. And somebody, a doctor, an NDC friend I was in the program with, in fact, gave some detailed information, Dr. Bayu. He's the NDC parliamentary candidate for Lambusie, even though he will lose. He's my friend, yeah, he will lose. But, I mean, he was very educative on this subject matter. That even in America, some years ago, it was included in their laws that when somebody have an attraction, a man have attraction to a man, a woman, is considered as ailment. Along the line, they did amendments to their laws and tried to now bring rights. And I mean, what is right about something that is unnatural?
Okay.
I mean, so, well, I mean, Bawumia's position, Alfred, the point I want to emphasize is that his position is clear. His intervention is timely, and comparatively to former President Mahama, he had the opportunity. He was president. And I have been saying that if Ghanaians are to give a fair judgment, and you are to give any benefit of the doubt to somebody who is a vice president, which we all know is constrained by the constitution, and somebody who has been president, the benefit of the doubt should be given to the vice president because he doesn't have ultimate power.
Thank you.
But Mahama has had ultimate power to do things that he couldn't do.
Okay, thank you.
And nothing will change if he gets another chance.
Thank you. So that's Kofi Adams on this. So after this statement from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, then what next? Really? You said he should state his position. He's done that openly and clearly, emphatically now. What next?
Well, taking a cue from what Prof said, when you are called to state a position, you are called to state a position in consonance with the timing of issues. There are times when you state a particular position at a certain time, that position that you have stated becomes what? Meaningless. It doesn't add to the discourse. The position of religion and whether the religion accepts or doesn't accept, we have long passed that stage. Those who qualify to speak in relation to the religion and position on that matter have long spoken. And we cannot take religious position from Dr. Bawumia anymore. The chief imams, the ulmas, the malams, and all those persons have spoken, and already we know the position of Islam as far as this is concerned. Where we are now is about bringing finality to the legislative function of law making, and that we have gone through all the stages of preparing a bill, presenting it to Parliament, the Speaker going through it, analyzing it and realizing that it is acceptable, he received it, it is laid, referred to a committee. The first reading is done, referred to a committee. The committee do their work and present a report. That report was debated and fully accepted, and it has gone through the second reading and consideration. Third reading have happened, and the bill is to be transmitted to the president for action. The president has two things: to sign or to decline to sign. If he signs, that brings finality to it. If he declines to sign, he can decline with reasons stating the provisions in the bill that he disagrees with, for which reason he doesn't want to sign. And possibly refer to Council of State and he will inform Mr. Speaker. Or he can decide that he's not giving any reason and refer to Mr. Speaker. In this case, the argument has been that there is a matter in court. That matter in court, this is not the first time the issue of this bill has gone to court. It has actually gone to Supreme Court and they have empaneled justices with the Chief Justice herself presiding. And they have determined that the matter as it is, they cannot interpreting stop Parliament from its legislative functions. Parliament's legislative function in terms of lawmaking concludes with the signing by the president of whatever bill they passed. And I know persons who have argued that this same president, in this very 8th parliament, not even 7th parliament, have had cause to sign the e-levy bill when it was in court, when it was in Supreme Court and still in Supreme Court. And that this very same president, not any other president, not in his first term or during the 7th parliament, but in this 8th parliament, in his second term, he had cause to sign an e-levy bill to law when it was still in court. So what has changed? The president signing the e-levy bill to law has not stopped him from functioning as a president. So the argument has been by many lawyers also that where the president has a function to perform, an injunction whatsoever cannot stop the president from the performance of a function that has been predetermined, such as signing a bill into law. And that even if the president so feels that because of the action in the Supreme Court, he will not sign, he can suggest that as a plausible reason for not signing. And therefore, he is referring the bill back to Parliament. It is then now left with Parliament to rely on the next provision, which says, in that situation, you have to garner 2/3 of members of Parliament to be able to now approve the bill again. And once that happens, the president cannot refuse within 30 days to sign such a bill to law. But the president is intentionally delaying all these processes because don't forget that before we heard of the court issue, the first spokesperson for those who went to court was the president himself. When he met the diplomatic call for his diplomatic message and indicated that someone has gone to court. And it was a day after he had given that indication before somebody actually went to court.
I mean, you were talking about the Richard Sky case.
The Richard Sky case. So the president was actually the spokesperson. We have also heard Professor Techiwa Menu, who is one other person that is against the bill, also suggesting that the president is the one who has advised them that if parliamentary angle is failing, they should go to court. So all this put together, what we expect from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, our vice president, is not to tell us the Islamic position on LGBTQ and because he's a Muslim, so that is what he associates with. What is ranging now is about the signing or the non-signing of the bill. My colleague Chinyere says, sometimes it's majority decision. Which of the majority is deciding that this should not be signed? Is the majority at cabinet or majority at the party level? Because let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay. Let Mr. Adams.
The majority who are in this majority, because I know 275 of us, including himself, have approved this in Parliament. Nobody opposed it. And majority of the members of cabinet are also members of Parliament.
Right.
And so they find themselves in these 270. You see, what worried most of us was the president's position when he was interviewed on this matter. That was what actually pushed persons to begin to initiate this process. When he said he grew up in UK as a young boy, and that in UK, the LGBTQ rights were not as pronounced as they were at the time he was having the interview, because the interviewer was asking him, why do we still keep in our criminal codes things that criminalizes same-sex marriage and so on and so forth? And he indicated, if pressure is brought, because the appropriate pressure has not been brought yet, if it is brought, it is bound to what? Happen.
Okay.
That was why this bill was sponsored, to make sure that the loopholes that will allow people to galvanize themselves and put pressure on anybody to allow such things to happen will not exist. Indeed, in this bill, when people read, we are not saying that the same persons who believe, who have a suspicion that for them they are some sex other than what God made them.
Okay, while you round up for me.
I'm rounding up on that.
Okay.
The bill is not saying that they do not have any right. That is why if you look at section 17, subsection 3, it says, sections 84 to 87 of the Criminal Offences Act, 1960 Act 29, shall apply to a person who commits a misdemeanor if that person verbally or physically abuses, assaults, or harass a person, A, accused of an offense under this act, or B, suffering from any gender, sexual or sexual identity challenge, including LGBTQAP+, or any other variant of sexual identity challenge.
Okay, thank you.
So the bill
quite
itself
clear on it.
even makes provision that you should not discriminate beyond a certain level. Just that they are not allowed to mobilize, to galvanize, to advertise, to sponsor, to do all those things, to build brothels, to rent rooms for such practices. And the President Mahama spoke rightly and at the right time when he did, as compared to
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Mahmoud.
I'll go for this quick
He
break.
mentioned Mahama Yariga.
I'll go for this quick break. We'll come out here from
You'll ever taste.
Hi, babies.
Hi, Mom.
Hope you're having fun at Granny's.
Yeah, but Grandma doesn't have my favorite top chocolate spread. Hi, Mom. Mommy, please, I missed top chocolate spread on bread.
And tasty too. Made just for you and me. Choco, it's chocolate choco. It's chocolate choco. It's chocolate choco. Top choco. It's chocolate.
Surprise children.
Yay! It's chocolate choco.
Taste of chocolate. This advert is FDA approved.
It's a brand new season, season 11. And are you ready for this one? Oh, you sure? Season 10 was warm up. This season, we bring the guys on. Oh, wow, give it up for Lady B!
I'm admiring someone special here.
Hey, already, Belinda. This one, let's be calming down.
I want it sharp.
They don't understand the word love. You know, they say, follow the wise and be wise.
Thank you. The belly is not meant to be flat. Naturally, God just gave us belly. Hello.
But some people, they have flat toe.
Will you keep quiet?
Date Rush shows every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it. Date Rush is sponsored by Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil and Napa Foods.
Feel Moisturizer.
Obuasi Bitters.
Close-Up Complete Fresh Protection, Geisha Moringa, and Geisha Black Soap.
Deluxy Acrylic Paint.
Adonko.
Remy Spices.
Stop Cough from Ernest Chemist.
Dano
Mark, it's a quick one on this matter, and yes, before we go, in a minute, yes.
On the matter of this bill, as I said, for me, based on law, you see, there are certain things I can only talk based on law.
Indeed.
As a lawyer, the Supreme Court has been clear that under Article 125, when they are seized with a matter, nobody should do anything that usurps that power. They said neither the president nor parliament should even attempt that. So, and I'm talking about the Republic versus Bank of Ghana, the Governor, Caroline Otu, Efriye, and the rest, right?
Right.
Where the, what do you call it, Governor and the Bank of Ghana and all those, they were committed for contempt, right? Yeah, so the principle is that when a matter is in court, even without an order of injunction, don't do anything to render the case useless, to make it a foolish case, right? So based on that principle, it's very clear. For me, I strongly say, okay, and it's my opinion, this is not the first time, that the president should hold his hands until the court case has been completely determined. And that's not too difficult to ask because that is our law. And so maybe if we think that it should be done, then perhaps the remedy is to apply to the Supreme Court for what? A fast-track hearing of the case. But on this matter, let's just
So there's
wait.
a mandamus application by Nelson Roxon Dafiamepo to compel the president to receive this bail. That application has been adjourned, I think, on to the 18th. So we'll see how that plays out as well.
Let's wait.
Okay.
Let's wait.
Council, appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming, and also to Musa Dankwa, who joined us earlier, the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Matipebo is private legal practitioner, the leader of one of 3 individual bondholder groups. We are getting some information about this bond, so this is matter we'll touch on next week. Thank you as well to the Honorable Kofi Adams, who's a Member of Parliament for the Boem constituency, a member of the Public Accounts Committee and the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament, as well as the Honorable Amedu Sako Chenia, who is a Deputy Minister, Sanitation and Water Resources, Member of Parliament for the Sisala East constituency. Also, thank you for coming. Professor Kobi Mensah is a Senior Lecturer at University of Ghana Business School, Political Marketing Strategist. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. And then also to the many of you who sent us messages, 1,750 of them. We want to say thank you so much for engaging with us and also contributing. And as I promised, we are going to employ a mechanism to make good use of the messages that you sent to us. So thank you so much. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Do enjoy the rest of the weekend.